My name is President Charles Ogiva. I'm moderating this conference. We want to welcome invitees, friends to members of the church, the choir, presidents of stakes that are present here, President Michael Moko, Benin Nigeria's local stake, President Samson Aguavoin, Uzebu, Benin Nigeria Uzebu stake, and then President Pedro Hamu, Benin Nigeria Sokomba stake. I'll be recognizing other stake presidents as they come. And then also in the stand is First Counselor to the Benin Nigeria Kopan stake president, President Joseph Osagbovo Awoyen. Brothers and sisters and friends, this conference is live, is beamed through so many channels of communication, so through Zoom and other means around West Africa and maybe some other places in Africa. We shall be having as our opening hymn number 241, Count Your Blessings, after which we'll call on Brother Robert Domandagbon for the opening prayers.
Dear Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We, thy sons and daughters, humbly bow our heads before thee this morning to appreciate thee and to give you thanks and adoration even for thy handiwork upon our lives. We are grateful for the families that we represent. We are grateful even for our beloved prophet and his associates. We are grateful for our leaders, the state presidencies, the area presidencies, and their counselors. We are grateful even for our sisters also. We are most especially thankful for bringing us here to be partakers of this program. Dear Father in heaven, we humbly ask that as we commence this program, that thy Spirit will be with us, that we will be able to learn what we ought to learn even this day, to better improve our lives and our health. Please, dear Father in heaven, we ask that thou will also meet us at our point of needs, as many as are coming, that thou will hasten their footsteps, that they will meet us in good times and be able to benefit from this program. Bless our prophets with good health. Bless even our leaders. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. We want to thank the congregation for the beautiful rendition of that hymn, and also Brother Robert Odoandabon for the opening prayer. Brothers and sisters, we have in our midst the person standing for the Commissioner for Health, Edo State, Mrs. Patricia Osazuwa, who is Director of Nursing Services. Please, if you're in our midst, you rise for recognition. She's not here yet. Okay. Then we also have in our midst Dr. Osawaru Okunzuwa, who is a former chairman of Edo State Medical Association. Please, a round of applause for him. Also in our midst, an Assistant Commissioner of Police, Dr. Margaret Oyakire, who is ACP Mopo Medical, who is standing in for the Commissioner of Police, Edo State. You're welcome. You're welcome. I shall now invite to the podium Dr. Osawaru Okunzuwa, who will be giving us a goodwill message.
Please, you are going to forgive me that I have not learned the ropes of protocol here, but let it suffice that I greet the clergy and the congregation and all the guests who are here with us, and Madam Commissioner of Police, all protocols observed, the Commissioner of Health as well. I was asked to deliver a kind of keynote address, and of course, I will talk in a goodwill message into it as well. I'm told I have just 10 minutes, and I'm to dwell on the theme of this very conference. Depression is ranked as one of the major challenges of our time. A visit to the psychiatric and general hospitals, outpatient clinics, offices of the private practitioners, tradomedical practitioners, herbalists, and most syncretic churches will convince any doubter. Millions around the world crowd these locations. The World Health Organization, WHO, that is the authoritative body that speaks on behalf of the globe, health-wise, currently estimates the global burden of depression to be 5% of the world population. We are currently 8-point-something billion people on the face of the earth. Some studies on the situation in Nigeria also range from 4 to 6% of our estimated population, which demographers currently put at 322 million. Depression is a cardinal cause of human misery and its byproduct, suicide, adversely affects and contributes and compounds our very human condition. The varied phases of depression may appear as a primary disorder or as an accompaniment of a broad spread of other afflictions. Numerous studies have yielded a deluge of reports on the nature, causes, and treatment of depression. The causes of depression lie along an axis ranging from the molecular to the interpersonal. Further breakthroughs in these domains will open vistas for prevention. In the current state of affairs, responding and supporting will imply the deployment and expansion of the available tools. This conference, this event, will be yielding its own contributions and insights, and they will be remarkable for their source. They will represent the constructive sensitivity of the Church to a pressing concern of the secular world. The Church here affirms the third and the seventh Sustainable Development Goals. An issue of health is being addressed, also while bidding the requisite partnership for it. A while ago, meaning a couple of years back or so during the COVID, I was privileged to be here on a conference whose theme was about the family straightening, if I remember. And I here offer special salutation to this church that, just like I said my piece, they respond to issues that are of concern to the people, material concern. It is true that the church primarily exists for the spiritual uplift of his congregation. But for a person to be spiritually alert, even the frame that contains the spirit must be in a good state. So I like to congratulate you, therefore, for being attuned to not only the health, comprehensive health this time, because mental health is a cardinal component of what people are preaching today. And as we know, there is a new Mental Health Act in the country. And one of the provisions of that act is that every hospital, that is, every institution that is worthy of being called an hospital, should have a psychiatric unit. That is one of the ways we can respond. And of course, at your conference today, we'll be learning more about many things to be done, about partnership, about what the church can do, whether in the position of research, whether in the provision of critical input, training and hiring of manpower, the whole range of it. Things that will make the delivery of healthcare, mental health care services available to a wider range of the population, even beyond your own congregation. I thank you very much for inviting me. I do appreciate the very importance and significance of what is going on today. I'm really, really glad to be here, and I congratulate you on this step, this vital step contributing to the healthcare industry in Nigeria. Thank you very much indeed.
We want to thank Dr. Kunzuwa for that goodwill message and for his coming. I'll be recognizing these following personalities. Mrs. Veronica F. Young, a principal clinical psychologist in the Department of Clinical Services of Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Then we'll have also Dr. Olaniyi Oyeniran Ayilara, Head of Psychiatric Unit, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin. Also, Mrs. Martha Mensah, Counseling Psychologist, registered with the Ghana Psychological Council. I now have the privilege of inviting to the podium Sister Marian Esiepa, who will be giving us a welcome address. Please, that was a little mix-up. She was supposed to come up before Dr. Kunzuwa. We will now invite Sister Marian Esiepa to give us a welcome address. After her address, we will now invite to the podium Mrs. Patricia Osazowa, Director of Nursing Services, who is standing in for the Commissioner for Health, Edo State, to give her keynote address.
Distinguished guests, stake presidents present, brothers and sisters, both here and online, all protocols observed. We welcome you all to our third annual Mental Health Conference. And as we have heard already from Dr. Okunzuwa, who gave our goodwill message, the theme for this year's Mental Health Conference is depression, prevention, responding, and supporting. This is a crucial topic that is closer to all of us than we think. Your presence here today shows your commitment to promoting mental health or well-being and breaking down the barriers that surround it. Our dear prophet, Elder Russell M. Nelson, in 2016 General Conference said, "Life is filled with detours and dead ends, trials and challenges of every kind. Each of us here has likely had times when distress, anguish, and despair almost consumed us. Yet we are here to have joy. We are on this earth to have joy." The answer is yes, a resounding yes. We are here to have joy. But how is that possible? And what must we do to claim that joy that Heavenly Father has in store for us? My dear brothers and sisters, let us all come together today and share knowledge, as we've already heard from our first speaker, and foster a supportive community as we embark on this journey of understanding of how to find joy in this life by learning and advocating for mental health. Thank you for being here, and let's make this conference a meaningful and impactful experience for all. We will now hear a message from a member of our area presidency, Elder Alfred Kuyungu, on our theme for this year's conference, depression, preventing, responding, and supporting. Please enjoy the conference. We'll now hear from Elder Kuyungu.
Dear brothers and sisters, depression is not a sign of a spiritual weakness or lack of faith. It is a medical condition that affects the mind and body. Just as we seek medical attention for physical ailments, it is essential to seek help for mental health issues, including depression. We would like to remind you that there is power of prayer and faith in coping with depression. Faith and spirituality can be a source of comfort and hope during difficult times. We are inviting members to provide emotional support and a sense of belonging to those struggling with depression. You may have open discussion about mental health within the church to reduce stigma and promote understanding. Seeking professional treatment such as counseling for therapy is a responsible and often necessary step for those dealing with depression. There are resources for mental health services both within the church and in the broader community. The teaching of Jesus Christ can offer solace and healing to those who suffer from depression. The atonement of Jesus Christ is not just for sin, but for healing, comfort, and the lifting of burdens. We encourage our members to show love, empathy, and understanding to those who are experiencing depression. No judgment of those who seek help for their mental health. Ministering to individuals with mental health challenges is so important. Just as we would for physical illness, we need to be aware of the needs of others and offer support where possible. We should foster our environment of empathy, understanding, and open dialogue. Depression can affect anyone, regardless of their faith, and it is important to provide a safe space for those in need within the church community. As the Africa West Area Presidency, we bear a witness that God is our Heavenly Father and that Jesus is the Christ. The atonement of the Savior has healing power. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. I bring you greetings from the Management of Ministry of Health. I'm here representing the Honorable Commissioner for Health, Dr. Samuel Ali, and he has asked me to tell you that he's sorry he cannot be here himself, and so he has asked me to give you this goodwill message. I went through the invitation. It says the challenges and opportunities for improving mental health. We know that in our world today, every one of us behave in one way or the other, which signifies our mental health. And so WHO says that mental health is the complete well-being of an individual, which is a holistic approach that brings together physical, mental, and social health. By way of definition, it says the complete physical, mental, and social well-being of an individual, and not merely the absence of disease. We know that as individuals, our mental state differs from time to time. And in medicine, that's what is called ill health. That means the balance in health. And at other times, one can deviate either positive or negative. Depends on the experiences of the individual and how the individual reacts to those experiences that he or she is experiencing at that particular time. And we know that for every 1 out of 4 persons in the developed world, person has a mental health issue. Even in Nigeria, we have same, but most persons may be passing through mental problems without showing it. And so this topic today, the challenges and opportunities for improving mental health, is very, very apt. There are different stages or types of mental health that we know. One is the common anxiety that all of us pass through at one time or the other. Even when you are very healthy, you have an occasion to carry out, like in a wedding, which is supposed to be very happy situation. Your preparations towards that wedding gives you some form of anxiety. But this anxiety propels you to do what you need to do. In that form of anxiety, you are reacting positively to it. But when there are negative experiences, somebody jilted, somebody loses a job, somebody loses a loved one, the person is also having some forms of anxiety. If the person cannot manage that situation, the person may go through the other side of anxiety, which is the negative anxiety. And if these individuals are not well managed at this time, the person could derail and get down to depression, which is another type of mental health. And depression is a major form of mental health, which is characterized by various things, but specifically, we have consistent low mood of that individual. And the person expresses lack of interest in things around him or her. And then the third, which is most dangerous, is the post-traumatic traumatic disorders that we can find in different persons. And so in mental health psychiatry medicine, they have the different stages. We have situations where some people are experiencing depression, they have mood swings, they have experiences of both good and bad almost at the same time. And so this topic, which says challenges and opportunities for improving this mental health, becomes very, very important to us. Why? Because even in our situation in Nigeria today, I'm sure those that didn't drive down here, you would have spent a lot entering, jumping from one vehicle to the other. And living here, going back home, thinking of what the family will take, how to put the children through school and all of that, gives you some mental stress. But where we are there for one another, I so love Nigeria, we are a brother's keeper. We tend to cope even when we are at the worst ends. And God has given us that grace to be able to cope in very serious situations. And so these opportunities that we have are opportunities like the one we are having now, that we got to hear, we share with one another, and we are able to cope through the circumstances we are in. And then other opportunities are ensuring that those that are workers in the mental health services are not short-staffed. They should be trained from time to time so that we have them with us. What of in our own homes? When we show love to our people, even when one has a problem, depends on how you react to the person will want to share or not share that problem with us. And we have that common adage that says, a problem shared is half solved. So in a way, that problem will be solved with those that are around us. The issue of social stigma is a very big thing. People are passing through stress, but they wouldn't want to say it. They wouldn't want to share it because of the fear of the fact that the person will be stigmatized. If you go to neuropsychiatric hospital, Selu, people that are there, those that are sick, they won't want you to see them coming out of that place. Even as a staff, if nobody knows you and you just drive out of that place and you are driving anyhow, they'll say this one is just coming out from Selu, the person is not well. So we must not stigmatize our people. We must show them love, bring them close, empathize with them, and also ensure that we interact with love with them. And they will have that zeal to seek help. Because many people are sick, they do not want to seek help until it becomes very, very serious. There are also research capacities done by people in health to help resolve these issues of mental illnesses through various programs. And so, even we also have laws and policies that also help to improve health. I'm sure the speakers of today will help to do justice to all of this. I just came to give these short words. I don't know if I have encouraged you to come and listen more to the main things or have bored you. I'm sorry if I have. If I have not, thank you for listening. Once again, I'm Patricia Osazuwa, Director of Nursing Services, bringing you greetings from Ministry of Health. God bless you all.
Please let us give her another round of applause. Madam, you have not bored us. You just enlightened us more. We appreciate your coming and then extend our goodwill to the Commissioner for Health. I shall now invite to the podium Brother James Ikechukwu-Ibe, who will be giving us, helping us to get to know some of our other speakers.
Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you for coming out to this mental health awareness conference in Benin City. Let me now introduce the first speaker who will be talking to us today. She is Mrs. Veronica Effiong. She hails from the South-South geopolitical region of Nigeria, a well-seasoned and thoroughly furnished clinical psychologist with the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Uselu, Benin City, in a good way. She acquired her Bachelor of Science BSc from Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, in 2000, and went on to acquire her master's degree in clinical psychology from the University of Lagos in 2010. She then bagged her diploma in project management in global health from the University of Washington in the United States in 2022. She is presently working as the principal clinical psychologist in the Department of Clinical Services of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Uselu, Benin City. She has made her impact felt in the field of mental health, as she has contributed immensely through her association as a member of the great body of Nigerian Psychological Association, as well as her affiliation as a full member of the Nigerian Association of Clinical Psychologists. She has also not failed to extend her professional tentacles in affiliating with international bodies, such as ISSUP, standing for International Society of Substance Use Professionals, where she currently serves as a coordinator for the state and employee-assisted professional. Aside her professional interest and specialization in mental health and addiction recovery and treatment, she has natural passion for positivity, impacting positively on those under her care. You would agree with me that she is well deserving of a round of applause as she comes to the podium to give us her speech. Please keep clapping until she gets here.
I wonder if I'm the one that Mr. Ibe was talking about. Okay, I want to say good morning to all the presidents of different states present here, distinguished elders in the house, all the distinguished invited guests, and all the people of God present here. I say good morning. My name is Effiong Veronica, as already been introduced. Every other thing he said, I don't know, just keep it aside. Okay, I'm here to lead a discourse on factors affecting emotional challenges. Okay, so like I said earlier, I will be leading the discourse on factors that lead to emotional challenges. And the main objective for this discourse is for us to enhance our knowledge on different factors that cause mental health problems, and also to help us understand common signs and symptoms of mental health. Do you have a pen? So, like I said, you see the objective on the screen, and I believe at the end of the day, we will get to understand all that. Then our presentation outline will be based on, first I will introduce the subject, then we will look at brief history of mental health problems. We will get to understand types of emotional health problems. We will also look at factors that lead to mental health challenges. We'll get to know common signs and symptoms of emotional problems. Then we'll conclude and we'll look at the references. Now, as a way of introduction, we get to understand that mental health, when you talk of mental health or health, we are not just talking about absence of illness or absence of mental health, that somebody does not show signs and symptoms of illness or does not show that he is sick does not mean that the person is completely well. So that is why mental health is actually said that it is not just the absence of mental illness or a disorder, but rather a state of well-being. When you are well balanced and such that that individual gets to realize his or her own potentials, you are at peace with yourself. You can live at peace with yourself. You can cope with yourself. You can relate with yourself, because there are some people who cannot even relate with themselves. They are not able to cope with themselves. Talk less of coping with others. You are to be able to cope with yourself, cope with normal stress of life, and able to relate with other people in the environment. And of course, you are also able to contribute to the community where you exist. Because you cannot just exist and you can't relate with yourself, you can't relate with people around you, you cannot do anything that makes sure that, okay, this person was here or this person is here. Just like people are working around the clock today to make sure this conference is better or take place. So that is when you can say that you are mentally healthy, which means that for you to say you are mentally healthy, you must have a balance, emotional, psychological, and otherwise. You must be balanced. You shouldn't be somebody that people are looking at, what is wrong with her? Yes, she's a graduate, but she has not been able to get a job. She has not been able to do this. She has not been able to do that. She has not been able to do that. She cannot relate with her neighbors. No. Now, what actually is mental health disorder? When you say mental health disorder, what do we really mean? Because people have a whole lot of definition when it comes to mental health disorder. They talk about this person is mad, this person is abnormal, this person is a witch, this person is this and that. Now, for you to say that somebody has a mental health disorder, we'll look at, one, how is this person's thought pattern? How does he think? Does he think that he is the president of the whole world? Because there are some people that think that they are the president of the whole world. There are people that all think that everybody in this hall are all against him or her. There are people that walk around the streets and begin to accuse everybody that this one is bad, that one is bad, this one is bad, that one is bad. How is this person's thought pattern? So, mental health disorder is when you have a significant disturbance in the individual's thought pattern, and emotionally you are not able to regulate your emotion. You cannot control your anger. You just freak out anytime at slightest provocation, you're off. You cannot control yourself. You are so anxious, you're worried, you're all that. You cannot control your emotion. And this, of course, leads to obvious change in the person's personality. For example, now, a person in the house who is living with you as a family member rejects your food, does not talk to you because he feels they are plotting against him. He doesn't talk to the neighbors because he feels the neighbors are connived with you to plot against him or her. And he accuses everybody of all sort of things. You see that this will impact not only on the person, but also on the family members. People will begin to wonder, what is wrong with this person's family member? What is wrong with this brother? What is wrong with this sister? And friends and relatives will begin to think, what is happening? They will find it difficult to understand why a person is playing a very loud music in the night. This person does not sleep at night. He walks around making noise, distracting people, distracting not just himself, the neighbors, and everybody around him. So, like I said earlier, the person, if he behave this way, there is something grossly wrong. Now we'll look at what are the brief history of mental illness. Please, next slide. How did mental illness come about? Why we are looking at this is because, why? We have to know our past. Look at the present before we can move to the future. Now, when people that had mental illness, they were seen by the church and the religion as people that have a demonic attack. They have spiritual problems. This one, they are attacked by the demon, so we cannot keep them close to us. Then the traditional environment regard them as people that are committed sin and they are being punished by gods. So the treatment regime as at that period was channeled appropriately. So these people were ostracized, they were banished from the environment. Some of them were sent to asylums, they were chained down in different spiritual homes, they were chained down or locked down in different asylums. You see, they were beaten and given inhumane way of treatment. Until the 20th century, this was the case. Now, during the 20th century, we find out that a lot of research in psychiatry came up, where it begins to dawn on us that the way we are going is not the right way. We begin to find out that there are certain chemicals within the body, there are certain factors within the environment, there are certain things that surround person's birth or training that may have contributed to this. And people now begin to receive a humane treatment. Of course, like if you come to the center where I work, I think that we also have humane treatment there in case you want to bring somebody. I'm not advertising, I'm just telling you. Okay, let's look at, please, next slide. Let's look at the type of emotional problems that we have. I actually list this because a lot of people do not understand what is psychological problems and what is not psychological problems. Somebody will come to you in the clinic and said, look, I just have anxiety. I just have depression. I don't have mental illness. And that doctor and that psychologist and that nurse was treating me as if I have psychology or as if I have mental illness. So I will tell the person, please calm down and begin to educate the person on what mental illness is. So let's look at the type of problems that are categorized as mental illness. You have anxiety disorders, where people worry excessively about almost everything. It goes to the fact that you see people that have different forms of anxieties like phobia. Some people cannot travel. They can't move from here to the next community because they are afraid. They can't go with the elevator because they are scared. That's what we call phobia. There are some people that cannot venture out of their homes because they are so afraid. And we have depression, depressive disorder, which is the main topic of the day. I'm sure Dr. Olani will dwell so much on that, where people are excessively sad. And sometimes you cannot tell the reason why they are sad. Then you have bipolar disorders, where an individual who is suffering from this is torn between two poles. At one time, the person is excessively sad. He doesn't have energy to do anything. He doesn't have interest in doing anything. At the other pole, the person is so excited, so active, have so much energy. He can talk about different projects at the same time. He might not even be able to sleep. He can walk around the clock with excess energy. Then we have post-traumatic stress disorder, where you have people that have gone through traumatic experience, like people who have accidents, or people that have been abused, or people that have gone through one trauma or the other that suffer from. Then we have schizophrenia, which sometimes we regard it as one of the highest form of mental illness. People that suffer from schizophrenia are actually, most of them lost touch with reality. They lost touch with reality. Their thinking pattern is grossly affected. You cannot, you are thinking right, they are thinking left, and all that. And you also have neurodevelopmental disorders. These are issues or disorders that affect people from the time of childhood. That's why you see many people have children, and children begin to exhibit problems with like autistic spectrum, autism, and or some of them having learning disabilities. Some of them have cerebral palsy and what have you. All of them are grouped under developmental disorders. Then you also have mental and behavioral disorders. This last one, most times, come about as a result of substance use. People that use this substance, and at some point in time in their life, they begin to manifest symptoms that look like that of anxiety, that of schizophrenia, that of depression. These are what you known as mental and behavioral disorders. Now, please, next slide. Let's look at factors that lead to mental health problems. Moving from the past to the present, where we used to think that it's only a particular factor, a particular condition that leads to mental illness. Research has shown that we cannot just say that one factor is responsible for mental illness. So, please, next slide. So, you have multi-factors that actually are responsible for mental illness. And these various factors are categorized into 3 major categories. And we have the first one, which comprises of the biological factors. And we have the second one, talk about the social environmental factors, that's factors in the environment, and we talk about psychological factors. Next slide, please. Now, let's look at how biological factors contribute to mental health condition. Now, what about biological factors? There are those factors or those things in the environment, those things that constitute and can lead to abnormal functioning of a chemical in the brain. And they may actually lead to adverse effects on the person's mental health, such as genetics. When you talk about genetics, what do we mean? Genetics are those inheritance, those trait patterns which you and I inherit from our parents. And we don't only inherit good qualities, we also inherit things that are not so good. For example, we inherit height. This person is very tall, the parents are tall. This person is short, the parents are short. Or blue eye, or brown eye, and all that. But we also inherit trait patterns that make one vulnerable to mental illness. So these are, when you talk about genetics, you find out that if the parents have mental illness, there's a possibility that the children may also inherit these traits, and this trait may make them vulnerable to mental illness. Now, we also have prenatal damage. Sometimes we find out that a person, especially when a woman is pregnant, a lot of things can happen when the child is in the womb. A lot of things can happen. It might be a woman, sometimes the pregnancy may not even be planned. Some people will say unwanted pregnancy. You have pregnancies that are not planned for, you have teenage pregnancy, and when you don't plan for pregnancy, sometimes you may try to do a lot of things to get rid of that pregnancy. And of course, some of them will remain. And all those stuff that the person may have used or tried to use may also affect the child's health. And also, when the child is being born, I find out that during the birth period, it's a very dicey period. The nurses are here. They understand. When a child is coming out of the womb, what happened? A lot of things happened. The child may fall, and a lot of things. The child may even take in the amniotic fluid. And of course, sometimes we have prolonged labor where the child is denied of oxygen. And all these are things that make someone vulnerable to mental illness. Now, you also have infections. There are infections that a child can get in contact and will also predispose the person to a mental illness. Then we have brain defects or injuries. People who have accidents, they have a fall that hits your head on the ground. You have a fatal accident that also hits your head on the ground, or other forms of accidents that may lead to injury. In fact, there was a particular parent that was worried while a child was having seizure at age 4. He said, but he never had any problem. But at age 4, he's having problems. So on probing, we found out that when this child was an infant, just about a few months old, the elder brother that was just 5 went to pick him up from the bed. And unfortunately, they tripped and the boy fell on the ground. So when an X-ray and EG was carried out, I found out that that fall had actually affected the child, and that's why he was having seizure. Now, we have psychological factors. These are factors that people suffer in real life. There might be severe trauma suffered as a child, such as abuse. You know, abuse might not just be, when we talk about abuse, people just go straight to maybe sexual abuse. No, we have all sorts of abuse on children and adolescents. We have physical abuse, where the mother and the father will beat the child, even the teachers will beat the child without care. They beat the child, and that can traumatize the child. We have emotional abuse, where parents say all sorts of things to their children. You are no good. I wish I knew I would have aborted you. I don't even know why I gave birth to you. I know, say all sorts of things. And this impacted negatively on children. Your child is going to, and you are telling your child, look at other children, they are better than you. Look at you, others are always taking first and you're always taking last. No, all those things. So when we look at it from today, we know the kind of things we say to our children. Now, we also have child neglect. Actually, when I was working on this, I said people may intentionally or unintentionally neglect their children. We are living in a world whereby the mother and the father, have to fend for the family. And at 6 o'clock or 7 or 8, the mother and the father, they are out. You can leave your young child with the creche or with a minder who may not even give that child the kind of support the child needs at that age. Okay? Or there are some, out of intentional, you don't even look after the child's emotions. Knowing that attachment at a very early age is very vital for a child's survival. A child is coming, please, I'm tired. Can't you say I'm tired? Please. And the child grew up feeling neglected at all times, at all spheres in life. Okay? You also have loss of parents or significant others. This has a whole lot of impact on people, on young people. You lose your father, you lose your mother, you lose the only person that was like a figure in your life or a caregiver in your life. This has a whole lot of impact on people. Inability to relate with others is a very, very significant and key. There are people who are not able to relate with anybody. A child goes to school, he stays alone. He doesn't have friends. In fact, I have a class of about 80 students that came for practicum some time ago. I asked people, I just sample opinion on people that have close friends. About 15% of those students in that class did not have any close friend. They didn't have any close friend. They don't have anybody. They can't relate with anybody. They now stay alone because they don't have anybody. They can't relate. They can't relate with friends. They can't relate with it. I told the mother, what happened? You are not. He said, she doesn't talk to me. She doesn't talk to anybody. So if you are not able to relate or interact with somebody, how do people get to know when you are having problems? How do people get to know when you are anxious, when you are, the earliest warning sign is there, or we are having a lot of problems? Feeling of inadequacy and self-esteem is a very serious problem, which I've also really seen, especially among the youth. People feel that they are not good enough. That is, their self-worth is quite low, so I'm not as good as the other person. And it is this feeling of inadequacy and low self-esteem that sometimes leads to worthlessness and may in future leads to what? Suicide. So it is very, very vital when we are looking at factors. Then you have environmental, social environmental factors, and these include people or persons in environments or culture that we are in that can contribute to the onset of the mental illness. I have a vignette that I said I will present. Please, perhaps the time. There is a family. They belong to a traditional church. Then along the line, a new church came to town and preached to them, and they left their traditional church, to the new Bible church. And they were, because of that, they were ostracized by their family. Then, along the line, they were at least fellowshipping with the church, and they were still okay, but not okay so much. Along the line, one of the daughters of the family got pregnant. And when the church find out, they kicked them out of the church. They kicked them out of the church. Now, they don't belong to the community. They don't belong to the church. They were left on their own. They don't have anybody to turn to. They were highly depressed. In fact, the man, the father, had heart attack and died. Of course, the woman was left to mourn alone, and in due course, she developed depression. I just said I want to talk about that, so that as a church, you look at how these environmental issues, which include not only the family, but the church and the wider society, what impact it can have on mental health. So when people belong to or come from chaotic family, dysfunctional family, where there is fights all the time, the mother and father are always at loggerhead. They are quarreling every day, throwing stools and pedals or whatsoever at each other. The children never have peace. They don't know what it is to have peace in the family. You can see how these children will grow up always anxious. Who knows whether mommy and daddy will quarrel today? Always sad. And of course, the neighbors knows them as children of those father and mother that are always quarreling. They are stigmatized anyway. So then the next one is socio-cultural expectation. These expectations whereby you are expected from your culture, from the society, to attain a kind of pedestal. Men are supposed to care for their family. In fact, at a certain age, you are supposed to get married. For women, if you are up to age 25 and nobody has said hello, your family members will be asking you a lot of questions. Is it true? Good. They'll be asking you a lot of questions. So there are so many expectations. Of course, in the cultural setting, you find out that when a man died, a woman is supposed to mourn the husband in a particular way. In some culture, you are out to sleep outside under a tent. It's quite traumatic. Sometimes the wife died. The husband is meant to sleep in the same room with the dead body because they want to find out whether you are the one that used your wife for money ritual and all that. There are so many cultural things that can actually lead to mental illness. So, separation and divorce. This can have a lot of impacts, not only on the partners, but the children involved, because the children are turned into, where do I go to, mommy, daddy, where? They are in the middle. Then you have alcohol and substance abuse. Alcohol and substance abuse, like if we look at our clinic, doctor will attest to that most of the people that present with mental illness also use a substance. So, substance abuse and alcohol abuse is one of the factors that can actually lead to a mental illness. Social isolation. The person is isolated, doesn't have anybody to relate with. He cannot relate with anybody in the environment. Sometimes when you move to a new place, you don't know anybody, you don't have anybody. You are not able to relate with anybody. Sometimes, like the children go to university, that over time, like if you look at the trend, kindergarten to secondary school, mommy and daddy were doing school run for this child. They make all the decisions for the person. And in the university, the person is now, boom, alone, has to make her decisions, have to navigate the environment by him or herself. You see, this can also serve as a factor. Now, when I'm talking about all these factors, none of the factors, not one of them, can independently actually cause psychological disorder. Not one cannot be only responsible for psychological disorder. So please, next slide. You find out that these factors can work in combination to bring about mental illness. So we have, in combination, we have predisposing factors, we have precipitating factors, and we have the perpetuating factors. Let's look at what predisposing factors is all about. These are factors that exist in the environment or outside the person that may actually kind of, before the illness started, like I talk about genetic inheritance, like I talk about when the child was to be born, like I talk about mother alcohol or drug use, like talk about unplanned pregnancy and all that. These are kind of factors can actually predispose a person or to mental health. You also talk about psychological problem. People also inherit trait pattern, that's personality pattern or traits, like antisocial personality, like schizoid personality, like schizotypal personality. These can inherit all these traits. And of course, the style of parenting. You can kind of train your child to become very anxious. The kind of training you give to your child can make your child to be very sad. Of course, we also talk about sociocultural demands. These factors come together to kind of predispose a person to mental illness. Now, you have the precipitating factors. Please, next slide. Precipitating factors are those stressors occurring in the environment. They're already there in the environment just before the onset of the illness. And these factors may be something like a person going through trauma, might be physical trauma, it might be emotional trauma, it might be that a person lost his loved one. When you are already having a trait which you have inherited, and you now have another kind of factor like bereavement or loss added to it, you find out that this may likely actually lead to onset of mental illness or failure in life. The person has failed exam, failed in relationship, failed in business, failed in almost every aspect. At a particular age where you know your mates have achieved so much, you have not achieved anything, and you look at yourself, you find out that you have not achieved much. It can also be a precipitating factor. Of course, sometimes when you come in contact with armed robbers or armed robbery, it might also predispose the person, precipitate to starting the onset of the illness. Please, next slide. Next slide. Good. Now, the third factor is the perpetuating factor. The first two, the predisposing and the precipitating, may have come together to bring about the mental health condition. This third factor is kind of factors that do not allow the symptoms to kind of remit or go away. For example, the person has come down with psychological problems, and you offer treatments. The person is treated and go back home. And before you know it, the person is being brought back again. What are the issues? What is the problem? Why is this person coming down? Every time he comes here, he's treated, he's back home, and he's coming down again. What are those things that are present? What are those factors that make sure that this person does not stay healthy? We find that those factors might be something like drug and alcohol dependence. A client that just left admission is better, goes home, the next thing is smoking or is taking alcohol. For example, I'm actually looking at some of our clients that are going home close to maybe Christmas or the fairly festive period. They go home and celebrate. You find out that by January, they are coming back to the hospital. Domestic violence, especially some women, you see them, you treat for depression, and they go home and they go back to the same condition. And they are back to square one again. Of course, stressful job environment. People who are working in a kind of environment that they do not actually enjoy their job environment. When they see their bosses, their hearts skip. They are offering promotion, they are never promoted. They are always at this. Okay? They receive query for known and unknown cause. You find out that your life, I mean, you just can't even describe it. So these are some of the things that actually may perpetuate the condition. It's just like a cycle. So we have looked at the factors, and we have seen that most of the factors we have talked about are those things that might predispose, precipitate, or perpetuate the mental health. So that when we go home, we might also see people who are having this condition and will be able to kind of counsel them. Let's look at common signs. Please, next slide. Common signs and symptoms of mental health. Next slide. Mental illness is not written on the face. Neither do we carry out a kind of lab test or X-ray to find out that this person has an illness. Sometimes people in the family, people in the environment, people in the church can actually, from the knowledge of these symptoms, be able to predict that this person may likely has a psychological problem. When you begin to see people with poor attention and concentration, somebody tell you, I can't concentrate. In fact, I don't understand what my teacher is saying. A child that was one time doing very well in school begin to come down, the grades begin to come down. Or a child just come home one day and tell you, look, I don't want to go to school again. It's until you probe before you find out that the child has problem with their attention and concentration. So it's a sign. Persistent sadness or depressed mood is another sign. Somebody is very sad, and he may not even understand the reason why he or she is sad. He may not understand, but the sadness is there like a second skin. That's a symptom. Excessive worry. Okay. All right. So the first people that worry excessively over everything, worry my child, or my husband, or my wife, or everything, is a sign. People that are easily provoked, that's irritability. That easily, you see a brother or sister that was very calm, before you know it, is easily provoked to anger, reacts to a minor provocation. Mood fluctuation. You cannot even tell when this person is going to be happy or sad, because the next minute he's happy, the next minute you see him is kind of sad or irritable. Of course, suicidal ideas and attempts, when people begin to talk about they want to end their life. In fact, this world should come to an end. Then you also have people that have increased energy or reduced energy, they become very energetic all of a sudden, or they lack energy all of a sudden. Somebody become highly suspicious of everybody, then it's a sign. Amotivation actually means when people are not motivated to do anything. There are people that are not even motivated to wake up from bed, neither to even take their baths or even go to work. That is a sign of amotivation. Social withdrawal. All of a sudden begin to withdraw from friends, withdraw from family members, withdraw from everybody around. Hearing voices, of course. You might hear that somebody is hearing voices. You may not actually know the person is hearing voices, but you look at people that are talking to themselves most of the time, or smiling to themselves. You watch, this person is talking to self or smiling to self. It's a sign that somebody is actually hearing a voice. People that see things that you ordinarily cannot see. Then, lack of interest. Lack of interest. Somebody that was very interested in so many things, in the choir, in the fellowship, in one department or the other, or in the general aspects of life, now lack interest in anything. Please, next slide. I'm actually asked to conclude. So, next slide, please. In conclusion, we have actually looked at factors that leads to mental illness. We have looked at signs. We have looked at the past, how we used to be. We have defined what is mental illness. We have also defined what should be regarded as a mental health. Now, in all this, when we look at it, we find out that I did not say that mental illness is meant for only young people or old people. Half of mental illness actually begin very early in life, like age 14. You can see people that are reporting to the hospital with mental illness. And of course, 3/4 of them actually begin before age 20. When you look at things like personality disorders and look at anxiety and depression, they begin at age 20. Now, this shows that mental illness is common among young people and even the elderly. What should we do? Regular screening and care will help maintain better mental health condition. Early diagnosis of mental illness or emotional disturbance in treatment facilities and other health-based services. Like I know you have family health services here that really want to look at that, can actually also screen, and proper intervention will actually lead to better outcome. On this, I want to draw my curtain and said, please look at my reference. Thank you.
Please, another round of applause for her. Please give her a round of applause. A round of applause. Thank you so much, Ms. Veronica Effiong, for that wonderful presentation. I hope we're having fun. We're learning one or two things. At this point, we would like to introduce Prudence Amechi. She's a poet, a young poet, who is going to give us a piece. I hope we sit back and listen to the message that she has to give to us this morning. Ms. Amechi, please. A round of applause for her.
They say, you see, this life is one of them say I no fit dress. They say I'm too shy, too thin. They say I'm too ugly, to they slide. I can never amount to anything good. I'm nothing but a weakling. The world has painted the perfect picture of how I'm supposed to be, where I should belong, so I find myself constantly comparing, checking to see if I measure up. I have set a mirage for myself, now we the nasty little comments. I try to change myself. Throwing away my identity, I try to fit into someone else's. Listening to the countless voices of them say, sweeping in like waves from the sea. And then, when at the end I'm still me, I stare at the mirror and hate what I see. I become frustrated, devastated, depression sets in, oppression everywhere. I become lonely, broken, empty. Shutting myself up in my head, I think less of myself. No, I don't measure up. I'm nothing but shards of glass. How do I compete with them? But the real question is, do I really need to compete? Do I really need to be just another shadow in a room full of people? I am a beloved daughter of Heavenly Father, and so the reality is not that I don't measure up. It's that I'm trying to be someone I'm not. And so, after all my best efforts, after all the lies, the fakings, the pretense, I still remain me. And as I go through these suffocating years, it gradually begins to dawn on me. I have to let go. Let go of all the fears, the inferiority, all those reasons that makes me stiff. And when I have embraced myself, embraced the love that Christ has for me, and shut out the voices in my head, something in me smoothed, relaxed. I begin to see the world for how it truly is, how Christ created it to be, not that perfect picture, but the perfectly imperfect one behind it. Christ created a world where I don't have to be perfect. A world where His love is sufficient for me and all my shortcomings. A life where I don't have to keep competing. Then I see that I can be me and still run this town. I can be original, genuine, and still turn heads. I realized I was a fool to have believed them all along. Let them make me feel less of myself. Tell me where I should belong. I spent years and years listening to the countless voices of them say, when I should have been listening to the one who created me. The one who says I'm more than enough, regardless of what I look like. I stare at the mirror and look past and beyond what they say about me, and this time I see the real me. They say I'm too shy, but I see someone who's bold and confident. Them say I know if you dress, but even with my skirt down to my toes, I still made you look. They say I'm too ugly, too thin. My pimples no be here, but I see someone who's beautiful just the way I am. As I relied more on the Savior's love and what He says I am, I started to notice those little details about myself that I never knew I had. And then I realized, they talk. They will always talk, but if they are not your maker, they don't get to be your mirror. They say a lot, and will continue to say more, but one thing is for sure. It all depends on how I see myself, how Christ sees me. For He knows, and He had always known, I am not what they say I am. I'm better. So now, I've learned a lesson. We're unique just the way we are, so be careful who you listen to. Everyone's acceptance is not a blessing, because your reflections are the real you. Thank you.
I think she deserves more than this. Yeah, I think she does. Thank you, Prudence Amechi, for that beautiful piece. I had tears in my eyes. You can still see it if you look at me. It's a powerful message. We should be who the Lord wants us to be, not who people define us to be. Great message. Thank you once again. A round of applause again, please. Thank you. At this point, we'll have the drama troupe from Benin City, Nigeria, Ogbowo Stake, give us a presentation, a drama message on the theme of the conference, after which I'll come back and introduce the next speaker. Thank you. Let's watch the drama troupe, please.
Hello, sister. Good afternoon, ma. I'm fine, thank you, ma. Sister, I want to tell you something. Sister, I know that time you say I should not do Yahweh, I should not do ritual. But now I'm in school, I don't have money to buy handouts and food. And today now I don't stay in class. My lecturer drive me out of class. Sister, please. That one I use it to pay house rent and school fees now. School fees is not here. Sister, now please now. Sister, you not there, no worry. Jesus is with you. Sister, now please now. Sister, please now. It's not a good thing, it's a sin. Sister, please. Sister now. Sister now, please now. What of the other 30,000?
To you.
Sister now.
Bye bye. Love you.
Take care. Sister now.
Hey. Let me burn this boy. Why is he disturbing me? Eh?
Who is at home?
I don't even understand why Papa has to die on time. Eh?
Who is at home? My sister, my sister. Sister, what is it?
Is it not your brother? He's disturbing me for money for
Leave
that
one.
thing. Eh? How are you?
Okay, how is your husband?
So that you came to my house, I hope all is well.
How did I come and meet my only sister in the world? See, I'm very happy. Thank God I met you at home.
Thank God you met me at home, my
So
dear.
that story said I should go and ask about how much to register their fee for the
If you
fashion
don't
school.
see again, just
Wait,
rest. No
wait
wahala.
now. I saw it. It was 180,000 to register. This school, if you see it, very fine.
You say waiting.
180,000 now.
Yes, I don't have money. Oh.
And how you say you don't have
I don't have money.
You like living
Every is
expensive
just disturbing me
life.
now.
Calm down.
I am even sweating.
Wait,
I don't have
calm
money.
down.
See,
Wait.
all this one I'm telling you now, I don't have.
Wait now, please now, calm down. Why are you doing like this? You know that my birthday is coming and you promised me that one since.
You are still talking of birthday.
See now, please. You promised me the money since and I already
You know
paid
what I will
everything.
do? Choose one. Either you go and lend the hair or you do your birthday. Choose.
I'll choose my birthday now. See. Now, wait.
Grace, you want to choose birthday over your hair that you want to lend. What will give you money?
No, you know that you promised me that birthday and I'll be waiting
And I
for that.
promise you the hair too.
No, now I need to celebrate myself. I need to be happy now. How will I not do my birthday? And I'll be gathering everything I want to do. And the other one now is like
Grace,
220,000. 220,000. I leave it together before.
you don't want to learn hair again. You want to do your birthday.
Yes, now stop, please now. See, I'm on my knees, oh, please. Please give me the money now, please. You are very rich now.
Me to be the first
You are living
daughter
an
of this
expensive
family.
life.
Who sent me to be the first daughter?
I should go and ask mommy for the money. She will not give me now. Calm down now, wait.
Please.
Please
now.
now.
What I will do? I will give you 300,000 naira.
Now,
You
sister,
look
please
for.
now. See.
Then another thing,
Please, now,
my
you
clothes,
promise
my
me.
children's clothes are dirty. Go and wash it. Don't ask me.
Wait. You will
Grace,
consider me, oh, please
I've
now.
already
Please.
tried. You will manage
Auntie,
it for the
please.
hair and for your birthday. That's
Please
what I
now,
can
you
give to you. I want to book collect loan in the office now because my salary is finished
Auntie,
already.
you like didn't lost
Go
you.
and wash the clothes, I beg.
Okay, no problem.
Okay now. This girl now talk. Imose, what is it? Who is killing you? You will not die. They will not kill you. Is it easy to become the first daughter of the house?
Mama, I'm regretting.
You are beautiful like that. Don't talk like that now. Every father knows why she gave it to me. No, you are already my senior daughter. In short, you are my husband. You are like a father to them. You want to remind me now that my husband is dead, Abi? You want to remind me now that my husband is dead? Do you want me to cry now? I should not cry. I will not cry. That's why I came to visit you. My beautiful daughter. Imose, man. I love you so much. Don't you know? God, the way you are beautiful today. If you're having joy, this is what I want you to be doing. I boast gist for you. Big gist. You're supposed to be happy. Do you know that my friend was that Mama Da? Don't you know her?
That one that has 40 years old and is not married.
This is my daughter.
That one.
But she's getting married now. Really? Is that not the good news I said I brought for you? Yes, so.
Seriously?
Yes, so. Her mother came to, yes, her mother came to visit me day for yesterday.
She must be very happy.
She's so happy. If you see her, she was dancing. I was like, I said, I was saying in my mind, I said, eh? Does miracle still exist? I said, hey, see this, the way this woman, I thought she will not marry again. No. If you see, the last day I went to the house, she was even having wrinkles all over her face. 40 years. When I was telling her mother at that time, to push her, to give her to one man. But now I was happy. Oh, she's even getting married to a rich man. The man is very wealthy.
Let's go and eat now.
No, I ate before coming. Don't worry, my daughter, she bought her chebi.
I don't want to drink.
I'm not even talking about you.
I don't want to drink,
It's not you. What's this now? It's not you. She bought it for me as a good friend now. Yes, now. Why will I not carry Ashwebi?
Mama, you carry Ashwebi.
Don't you know my mother again? She's my friend, though.
Mama, return
what I've even given to Taylor to so. They are telling me to return. What will I return? I cannot return. If you see this type, Pete.
See, Mama, I don't.
Forgetting. My beautiful daughter. You forget. And the money is not even big, just 50,000 naira. You are capable now.
Mama, how can you carry Ashwebi of 50,000 naira?
She's my friend. I cannot say no. I cannot say no to her.
Look at the money I sent to you now. You cannot give back from that one.
The money was finished. I bought my just.
Mama, you are not the one taking care of Henry. Precious too is not you.
Okay, you want to remind me now. If my husband was alive, will I come and meet you? I will not come now. What's this self? I beg me, I don't know. The money was not even enough. Why are you even complaining? Don't you have this money? Do you have the money?
I'm not your husband. I'm not your husband.
If you don't have, ask your husband. We will give you. He's not stitching. I know very well. I'm not even happy I did not come and meet him at home. Why will I kill your husband? No, I will not kill him. Please, nobody is dying now. I beg. Nobody is dying. The money is not big. My beautiful daughter. Where? You would have married a plumber.
Mama, go.
No, please now. Do you want me to cry now?
I will give you. Go.
You will give me.
Go.
You will give me. I love you. Where's the food you said you want to give me? I want to eat now. I should be going like that. And don't worry, when I get to my house, I will eat. See you, lover. I love you very much. See you later.
Honey? Elizabeth? Elizabeth, are you okay?
Honey, you're back.
Yes, I'm back. You too, you are back.
Bele.
Yeah, and thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. Why is the house this dirty?
I just came back. I said, let me...
You just came back by 5?
I don't even understand you.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, I just received a call from the children's school that their school fees, which I have given you over 2 weeks ago, have not been paid. Why would the school even call me? What happened?
Why did they call you?
Why did they call me?
I'm going to sleep.
I didn't get married to a madman. What's all this? This woman, she does not even confide in me. God.
Hello.
Thank God she's not back yet. Let me come and quickly prepare for the board meeting. Hey. Don't tire. I hope that file she even asked me to send. I sent it, Abi. Okay, I've sent it. Now what? People will not kill me. They won't kill me. No, they will not kill me. Let me see. Grace is not here yet. What is she still waiting for? You're supposed to go together. What is she waiting for? I don't understand her these days at all. I don't understand how. Lizzie. How long you came early today? Lizzie. Lisbeth. Lizzie. You are here, Grace. What's wrong with you? I'm happy you came to work today. I was thinking of the drama that I want to act in. This thing I told you about. Drama queen. You always acting drama. I know it, Pele. Have you prepared the nothing? Forget the issue. Did you prepare the file?
I'm okay.
You are okay. Look
I'm
at how
okay.
dusty your skin is. Look at how dry
I'm
you
washing
are.
my weight.
No, you're not washing your weight.
I'm washing my weight. I'm washing my weight.
Good morning.
Good afternoon, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to yourself. Keep your greeting to yourself. Elizabeth, what happened to the files I gave you to submit?
I've sent it.
You sent it. In fact, I don't have time to argue any word with you this morning. Make sure you correct that mistake. If not, you will be in big trouble. What nonsense is that? Huh? I received a very embarrassing call this morning. Make sure you correct that, else I'm going to fire you and I'm going to seize your assets as well.
Madam, Oga,
Lisbeth.
You go to the board meeting by yourself, I beg. Let me go and look for the file.
Remove table.
Even the bed in the room self is paining me. It's paining me. What kind of problem is this one? What kind of wahala is this? Eh?
Honey, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm residing for a drama.
Is it a church drama?
Eh?
Is it church drama?
You don't know the drama.
It's already late. I want to go and sleep.
Go and sleep. Now we'll meet in bed. How will you not
stay up
sleep?
late too.
You don't have problem. How will you not sleep? How will you not sleep? You are sleeping, you are fatting, I'm reducing. How will you not sleep? Me, I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can't do anything. Even to go to the office is a problem. Oh, this chair. I tell this man, say I don't want this chair for this parlor. Eh? The fan is not blowing. Is they say I asked this man? The fan is not blowing well. Eh?
Sister, now please now 150,000. I want to buy food and hand that. I don't want to do Yahoo. If I want to do rituals, you will use. Oh, sister, please now. Sister, please.
Sister, now please now. It's just 400K. Please now. You promised me the money. Who will give me the money now? Please, please. My beautiful daughter, just 50,000 naira. 50,000 is not that too big for you. You can't afford it.
The children's school fees, please make sure you pay it.
Elizabeth, make sure you get those files ready. If not, I'm going to fire you.
Sister, now please now.
Please,
Sister, now
make sure you
please
get
now.
those files.
Are you done?
Which kind of wahala is this one? Hey.
Sorry, what was that sound just now?
Eh? It's cockroach that you pass. Cockroach. I'm tired. You will not fumigate the house. All the money that you make, you will not fumigate this house. I'm tired.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. I'll make sure the house is fumigated. By the way,
no problem.
I'm going to go and get ready for work.
Which work? Where are you going to? Bed for night?
It's morning already.
6 o'clock.
Please.
You do not wake me. I will sleep.
Ready.
Seriously? Hey. I'm not sure I'll go office. So. I'm sure. I'll go office like that. That's how I'll barb this hair. I'll barb this hair. I don't tire. Maybe I will sweat, so I will see fat. I don't tire. Hey, what do I do? What do I do? My sister is on my neck. My mother is on my neck. Eh? Even my brother. That one is using Yahoo to sing in my ear. Eh? My mother, the same thing. My children's school fees. Husband. What do I do? I should run away and leave my husband. If I leave children with her, just run, come on, go where they don't know me. I will start afresh. Eh? I think that will be better because me, I'm tired. I should cook my pointed that will land me in the hospital. If I'm on bed rest, nothing will happen to me. I will just be there.
Please excuse me.
Nobody will call me for money or for anything or for problem.
Hello, Lizzie.
I'm tired. What do I do?
Who's at home?
Hey, this my own. Don't pass. Be careful.
Hello, Lizzie.
Hey,
Lisbeth.
what do
Lisbeth,
I
good
do?
morning.
What do I do? I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Lisbeth.
Why did I become the first daughter? Why now? I wish I be last born for better. For better.
Elizabeth.
Oh, I'm tired.
Queen Elizabeth.
See that? I saw you when you were coming in. I was just doing that so I did not see you. I saw you. Me.
You were talking to yourself. You were soliloquizing.
I thought I was auditioning for a drama now. I better sit
Drama
down.
queen.
Sit down. Well, sit down.
I just let me pay you a visit at home.
Sit down. Thank you.
You told me your car is bad, it's in the mechanic, but it's not your compound.
Mechanic have not brought it.
Eh.
They have not brought me. My money, you son. Mechanic have not brought it. Oh.
So what's the issue? You're looking very dry.
I'm washing my way. Some times will I think I'm washing my way. Leave my skin.
No, I know you. This is no weight washing. Please, babes. Please share with me. What are you facing? What was the problem? Please. Problem shared is half solved. I'm your friend. Please, Elizabeth. Lizzie.
Eh? You say what? How was that performance?
I don't. It was very, very bad. Lisbeth, you kind of running mad, though. Or you're not seeing yourself.
I don't run mad already. Oh. Hey, I'm tired, though. Hey.
Please don't be tired. What is it?
I'm tired, though. I'm tired. I don't know what to do again. Oh. I'm thinking of running away. I'm thinking of committing suicide. I'm thinking of even taking points and being on bed rest. I'm tired. God forbid for this one. Hey.
Yeah, you don't need to. Where did they run? They go.
I'm not washing my weight anything, my dear. I can't eat. I can't eat.
I can see it all over. It's written all over.
Hey. My sister is on my neck. You know how my mother is alive. Sorry. My father, my father died at a very young age.
I know.
I'm the one carrying the responsibility. I'm even regretting why I got I don't even know who sent my husband to be rich. I wish my husband was poor. They will not be asking me all this problem. My sister now, she wants to go and learn work. 280. I've been at birthday bill 280 and work be 120. Is that not 400? Every 150 for school. My husband, my children's school fees, I've used it. My mother is coming for Ashwebi. You were in the office that day now when madam was chatting on me. I'm tired. I'm tired. See my hair. See my hair. See my body. Dry bone, no green rice. I'm tired.
It's okay. You have been passing through all this and you refuse to share it.
I see they pass through.
See, there is nothing God cannot do. There is nothing. Problem shared is half solved. You see, gone are those days when they say, "Sew your coat according to your size." Who say? Now it is you no longer sew your coat according to your size these days. Oh, you sew your coat according to the materials you have.
I should not train him in school.
I am not saying you should not train your brothers in school.
I should not let her learn work. My mother should be crying.
Elizabeth, you want to kill yourself? You are looking so depressed because of family issues. No! As for your brother, he can be schooling at the same time, working to support himself. As for, can you just listen to yourself saying your sister wants to learn handwork and she wants to celebrate birthday? Who does that? You have to prepare a way for her that she can stand for on her own. Well, birthday, she can celebrate herself at any time when she's grown up. What do you mean? And your mother, I'm your mother, Ashwebi. Ashwebi.
Is that woman cry for you? Is that woman cry for you?
Yeah, she should go for another word as a crying word, whatever. My dear, you have to love yourself first. You have to take good care of yourself. Love yourself first before you love others. How can you say your mother Ashwebi? That's not an important issue. You are killing yourself over. Good morning, sir.
So this is all you've been passing through. Why are you shouldering all this burden on top of yourself?
I didn't want to disturb you now.
You don't want to disturb me?
I didn't want to disturb you.
We're a couple for crying out loud. We're supposed to share each other's pain, burdens, and everything. Eh?
I'm tired, though. I'm tired. I don't know what to do again. Oh.
You've betrayed me.
I'm sorry.
You've disappointed me.
I'm sorry.
The stage she is now, she's like, I don't know what to say. She's like having some, I'm sure she has some mental.
She's almost on the brink of mental breakdown.
I'm not a man.
Before I go to bed, she's always awake. I wake up, I meet her awake. I don't even think she sleeps.
You are not saying you are mad. But the stage you are now, my sister, you need a therapist. You need
yes,
a
she needs
family
it.
service personnel to address you. You need to be.
Do you know anybody? Do you know anybody?
Yes. When you come to Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we have family service personnel that will talk to you and counsel you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll go next month. Next month.
No. We are going now. No. Please, can we book an appointment now?
Yes, we can book an appointment now.
We are going to go now.
I've not made my hair. Oh.
No, don't worry.
Here's your problem at this point in time.
Yeah, now let's go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you. Yeah, let's go now.
Let's go. My beloved brothers and sisters, what emotional struggles, challenges do you think you are facing that can never be resolved? No matter the challenges you are facing, my beloved brethren, always tell it to your loved ones, your spouse. You can also meet us. We have family service personnel at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where all your challenges will be resolved. Come, we have all around. You can, when you step out, you can see them all there with this tag. When you meet them, they will be able to talk to you, counsel you, no matter the challenges you are facing. You should always learn to share, because problem shared is half solved. And never you forget that your health is your wealth. Thank you.
Please, another round of applause for the drama troupe. I think the message is very apt. They portrayed why we are here. And so, if you're in the habit of making somebody have mental breakdown, please. And don't stigmatize on those people who pass through this so that they can be better, they can receive the help. Another round of applause, please. We'll move a little bit faster now, and so we can, we'll not keep you waiting. I hope we are not boring you. All right, let me introduce the next speaker. The next speaker is Dr. Olaniyi Oyeniran Ayilara. He hails from the southwestern region of Nigeria. He's a family man, a thoroughly furnished senior consultant psychiatrist, and he is the head of the psychogeriatric unit at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Uselu. He's been in that role since 2013. He was a senior registrar in the Psychiatry in Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, from 2010 to 2013. He was also a registrar at the Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Aro, Abeokuta, 2008 to 2013. He holds a Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, MBBS, from the College of Medicine, University of Ilorin, Nigeria. He graduated in 2004. He is a fellow of the West African College of Physicians, this FWACP. He is also an addiction treatment specialist in Nigeria. He is a certified addiction treatment specialist, a certified addiction treatment specialist certified by the United Nations Office of Drugs and Crime, UNODC, as well as the Drug Advisory Program, Colombo University Treatment Curriculum. He has a strong passion for mental health and advocates for patients at every opportunity. Dr. Olaniyi is an outstanding psychiatrist who has demonstrated his intellectual prowess in his work and career. He has exemplified this in several treatments that he has given to those who have seen him. Please, a warm welcome for Dr. Olaniyi Ayilara, please.
My salutation to the leadership of the church and the organizers. My salutation to the leadership of the church and the organizers, the distinguished dignitaries, the invited guests, and my fellow speakers. I want to take this moment to appreciate the opportunity to use this platform to speak on the issue of depression. And my job has been made easier by all who have spoken before me, from the goodwill messages to my colleague, Ms. Effiong, and even this drama. They portrayed everything that I will need to say. So I know that time is spent, so since they've made my job easier, I won't take so much of your time to go through what I have to say. I hope everybody can see me. Okay, thank you very much. And I like this because some others I have to actually, try and get people to see me. And thank you, Bro James, for the effort that you have made and for reaching out. Thank you very much for that. So please, the next slide. Now, I'm supposed to answer 4 questions, and the first of them is who is at risk for depression? And all ages, everyone, anyone, except the newborn, of course. But it's rare when someone is under the age of 12 years, and the manifestation may be a bit difficult for people to get to understand. Okay. And so when we are talking about global prevalence, we're talking about all over the world. When we are talking about adolescents between the ages of 13 and 19, 8 out of every 100 of them, that means if you have adolescents gathered together, just look at any 8 of them, they are likely to be depressed. When we are looking at adults from age 18 to 59 or 60, we are looking at all over the world, 5% of them. And when we are looking at the elderly, you feel that I've seen it all, and so they should be fortified. They have gone through life, they understand everything, and they shouldn't have that much of a challenge. But look at the figure that we have for the global prevalence, 13.3. That means wherever people who are 60-year-old and above, where every 100 are gathered, you have 13 of them that are depressed. And the only study that has tried to look at community samples in Nigeria gave a figure of 4%. That's 4 out of every Nigerian has depression. I don't agree with that figure because I believe it's much higher. And it's not a recent study. I'm sure that if we would have a recent study, we'll have something higher than that. Please, the next slide. I'm sorry if I'm going to be a bit faster, but so that we can get to everything that we need to. A lot has been said today. So, depressed mood. When we're looking at depression signs and symptoms, that's my second question. Depressed mood. Depressed mood is not just sadness. And if you have gone through this, it has also made my job easier. It's not just sadness. You can have an incident and you are sad. But a mood disorder is a persistent disorder, an emotional tone problem that colors the person's perception of the world around them. That means when you are depressed, there is no good news. Even if what you think is your problem is the money you've been expecting from your uncle or from your father or from a relative, even when that money comes, it will not give you that essential joy. So it's not just sadness. So because when people are depressed, they try to look at the things that are going wrong in their lives and try to attribute it to the depression. But even when those things, those problems are resolved, you still find that the person could not still have that joy. So there is a diminished loss or interest in activities. You see, when someone suddenly, you have the person come, is always, let's take the church for example, the person is always helping out with this, you don't even know which unit the person belongs to, and now the person is just contented to work with one unit and sit down. There is loss of interest, even in the things that the person finds pleasurable, the things that they enjoy doing. They don't enjoy them anymore. visiting friends, playing games, hanging out with people, even, involved in gossip and things like that. Amebo, acts all around. The person, you bring the juicy stories, and the person is not interested in the juicy. Say, there are other problems that are bothering me. Then you know that this is just another thing. Then difficulty concentrating, which can manifest as loss of memory. A student can come and say, I'm reading and I can't understand. Somebody comes and say, I don't know. You can put something on the fire and then it's gone. It's only the smell of burnt food that will get that person to understand, oh, I've been cooking. So that is also an issue. Then feelings of worthlessness. When the person looks at themselves and it's like, I'm not worth anything. All these are the classical symptoms. But for each different age groups, there are different things that one should be looking out for. What are the things, in addition to everything I've said earlier, that is present in children younger than 12 years? Problems at school. Your child has always been doing well in school, now he's having problems concentrating in school. The teachers are complaining that he's fighting with other children, he's not getting along well, he's losing concentration and things like that. Those are pointers that this child may be depressed. The other thing is not wanting to go to school. And sometimes you might get a feedback that even the child that you dropped in the school was not in school, just jumped over the fence. That's the experience of someone that I know. Lots of interest in fun activities. You see a child wants to come and they want to play. You have to force them to study. If you have a child that comes back from school and the first thing after doing assignment is, I want to read, please look into that child also, because that is not just what you will expect in a child. Then change in eating habits. They may now start having preference for some food and not for some other food. They need things that could quickly release some chemicals that will make them feel good. So they may crave for more sugary things and chocolate, or they may stop eating some food altogether. Then they may cling to you more. They may cry. They may just want to spend more and more time with you. They will just come and lie down. You say, what's wrong? Are you sick? You touch every part of the body. There is nothing to indicate that this person has an illness in the body. So what are the triggers? Now, like Ms. Effiong has pointed out initially, you have a factor, physical factor, you have a psychological factor and a social factor. And she has also told us about the precipitating, the predisposing, and the maintaining or the perpetuating factors. But I'm looking at triggers. These are someone that is already having the genetic loading to develop depression. And even though, it's the great-grandmother that had it, all the other generation did not have it, but the person has inherited the gene. So what are the triggers? Domestic violence, I don't have to spend more time describing that. Parental depression. Even depression in the parents can lead to depression in the child. Remember that the child is dependent, and especially in the mothers. Then parental divorce and other family stressors, abuse, all these have been said, so I won't take our time. Learning difficulties. A child that is having difficulty, there are some children, they will do better in our traditional school, but we want to take them to where the best of the best are. Someone who could have led in a state school, in a private school, is now struggling to even come last. So that may be a challenge for that child. That may be a challenge. And when you come and you bring out your lunch, and you see the lunch of other children, and then you have to close it, this could lead to depression. This could lead to depression. So we should just look at that, because I've seen it. You will start a school, year 1, year 2, then you see a class that started 80. At the end of SS3, only 15 are graduating. You will now be wondering, because after a while, you move the child because you can't take care of that child in that school any longer. And what happens to the child? The child is likely to be depressed because he knows that now I'm a poor person. He doesn't know poverty before, but has been introduced to that. When they change school, when you relocate, when you see, it has a lot of effect on a child. For adults, you go to work, you do a lot of things, but for that child, he has to go to another school and meet new children and learn to be friends, and he will also acquire new bullies. He has learned how to deal with the person that has been taking his lunch before, but he has to meet with another one and learn what he has to do to survive in that new school. This, the next slide. For those who still like pets and things like that, it's not so common, but I'm beginning to see the pets that people are having now. And I'm not going to have any, because when I go to the shopping mall, and I see what the pets we need, because somebody has been trying to give me one, and I saw the food, and I realized that even my own shopping list will not reach the dog's shopping list, and I'm not going to eat this dog, so I can as well leave the pet now. So when they are asking, when are we getting pets? When you grow up, you have your job, you have your pet. So what about in teenagers? We have to look at the teenagers. Now, the life of a teenager, that teenage process is already a complicated process on its own. The brain is that of a child, the body is that of an adult. And you see, the child sees only the body, he doesn't see the brain, that my brain is not yet complete. As people from my side will say, when you begin to misbehave, they say your head is not what? Complete. But they can begin to have mood swings. So, you know, when you expect that someone who is depressed will just be quiet, but they can be shouting, they can be agitated. You call them and they say, what? I say, is it me that you are talking to? I just say what because I didn't hear you. You know, they have a way of disrespecting you without really disrespecting you. Irritability. So it's not every time that they will be quiet. They can be very angry. They are now children that sometimes you have to take the younger siblings away from. There's somebody that I know also that whenever the parents are traveling, they take the younger siblings and distribute around the other neighbors because they cannot live with this person. May God forgive that person. I'm not sure whether the person had depression at that time, but well, we will know. Extreme sensitivity and anger. Every little thing is a trigger. They have, of course, problems at school, bullying and truancy, problems at home. All these things they will have. I don't know what came over this child. Some will take for deliverance, some will take for, I don't know. He has always been a good boy. He has always been a good girl. But suddenly, something has changed about this child. Of course, alcohol and drug abuse. For those who have managed all their teenagers, you know what I'm talking about. For those who are going through it, please, this is for you. What are the triggers? Major life transitions, marriage. Oh, sorry, we are still on the previous one for the teenagers. Sorry. The previous slide. Okay, so peer pressure. Thank you. Please, the next slide. So, 19 to 29 years. That's a different, they have the typical symptoms. They have everything that we're looking for, that we have talked about, the loss of energy. But what are the triggers? Marriage. You see, after the day of the wedding, which is what you see on social media now, that day must be special. And a lot of people are not prepared for what comes after. They are not prepared for what comes after. And I think we should spend more energy and money on that. Childbirth, divorce. Some people are okay. They had their first child and they had mental breakdown. Divorce, separation, death of spouse or loved ones. Some people don't know how to cope. Any small problem, is either they shout, is either they curse, is either they drink. So if you don't have good coping skills, relationship issues, remember that is also a period in which those people are trying to negotiate, you know, having intimate relationships, having non-intimate relationships, and, you know, a lot of things are also being asked of you. Poverty, I don't think I need to. Please, previous slide. Poverty, I don't think I need to. Then trauma, work issues, relationship issues. All these are the things that will, you know, impede on somebody's progress at this point. Please, the next slide. So in addition to between 30 and 60 years, we have the typical symptoms, and this is when someone who drinks moderately loses it. Unrestrained anger. The man comes back from work, and the thing is, it's not all depressed patients, especially in men. It's not every time. You see, they can come and then all their depression is now converted to energy. The energy they don't have for other things, they will now have for displaying Mike Tyson's skills on their wives and their children. So before all the children will rush to welcome daddy, but once they sight daddy's car, everybody, the one that is praying, the one that is studying, the one that is washing, everybody disappears. So we're looking at all these problems. Please, the slide, please. So abusive or violent. So what are the triggers? And you can see that between 30 and 60 years, which is what this woman went through, you have child care. You have to take care of children. Then you are also taking care of parents. That is a lot of load on anybody. Please. Financial issues, increased responsibility, illness, because hypertension, diabetes, and some other chronic illnesses, this is also when people begin to experience them. Menopause, which is another whole ball game on its own, and then work and relationship problems. Mr. Effiong has told us about, when you are there, and because you are not, you have not behaved the way they want you to behave, they withheld your promotion. So you are going to work, you are working, and there is no hope of promotion. It's happening to somebody that I know. I don't know, but please, in the next slide. I always know somebody with something like this. So when we are now looking at the elderly, now they have the typical symptoms, but the things that are more commoner in them is trouble sleeping. And when you see the elderly, which is basically what I've been doing for some years now, to see the elderly, they have trouble sleeping, they have anxiety, they have persistent grief. Now they have pain everywhere. Apart from arthritis, they can have pain that is here, that goes here, and then moves to their throat. And when they come, they keep on saying it, and I say, oh God, I hope I never experience this, because sometimes it's pepper inside of the brain. There is nothing, no connection between the gut and the brain. You see, so they will just tell you, sometimes when I eat peppery food, I feel it inside of my brain. So all these things, when you go and visit the elderly and they are telling you all this, just know that this is depression. And another thing that you must know that I forgot to mention, especially for the elderly, is this guilt. You see, because in the elderly, social isolation is one of the things that can be the trigger. Everybody has left you. You see, that house that you have built, your wife will tell you that she needs a duplex with 5 rooms and everything. And then all the children that the Lord has given you are scattered all over the globe, one in UK, one in Canada, one in US. And mommy is so good that God has given her grandchildren, so she's moving from this to this. And daddy, you are there in your 5-bedroom duplex, alone, and trying to get. So I'm already working against that. There is no duplex. It's going to be 3-bedroom bungalow. That if I have my one walking stick, the mop can be in the other one. That I can manage if it's only my room. I'm preparing for that because I've seen that a lot in my practice. And when the mother, the wife will stop, he said, look, you are not omomo any longer. I cannot be babysitting you. And the person, we got you help. You're always shouting on the help. So these are part of the challenges of the elderly. And usually they now blame themselves. Maybe I didn't do well. That's why they have left me. Now they feel the guilt. Now when they internalize the guilt, it now becomes something they confess to. So in the village then you will hear, one witch is confessing that is responsible for the death of this child, is responsible for the death, and before you know it, it's always in the market square. Because she has been living alone. So she will come to the market square to come and tell the world, I think this is the reason. And what do people do? They take stone and they stone that person. The first time I said, so this is it. And I was told of one woman that confessed for 1 month, and that one before she died, and that's the month that should have, intervention should have been made. But she was left until she confessed and died because she wasn't eating. She just kept on confessing and confessing. They are not witches. They have mental illness. Please, the slide. So, at that point, they would have lost either their husband or their wife, financial issues, illnesses, because at that time, the drugs, sometimes when I'm prescribing for the elderly, and I look at their drugs, I'm feeling sad. Don't let me say I'm depressed. I feel sad. Because for their depression and the other pepper, I will add like 3 drugs. Then they have diabetes, I had 2 drugs. They have hypertension, unfortunately, the hypertension has been there, I had 3 drugs. Are you counting with me? That's 8 drugs. Then I have to prevent stroke in them, I add 1 more. Then they now have arthritis of all the issues. Then you have 2 other drugs. So by the time I'm writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To even take this, you don't need food any longer. When you take this, you should be filled. And it is. For now, and I cannot leave that unit. Because I thought when I left addiction, my life would be better. But with the elderly, it's even worse. And they are there, and they are staring at you. And they will tell you, doctor, is it the old drugs? They say, sorry, because of that other complaint, I've added more. And you can see it on their face. This thing now food. So we can look at all that and know. Please, if you have not called your elderly parents, I believe after this program, please reach out to them. They are going through a lot. Please, the next slide. The next slide, please. We are almost done. So how is depression diagnosed? A lot of things have been said. We have to look at the possible, you have to look at the risk factors. You have to look at whether this woman is being battered by her husband. You don't give treat and say she should go back to her home. So you have to look at all the things that are perpetuating, that are predisposing, the ones that you can maintain. it's a lot of work. Laboratory investigations can be done because not all depression does not have a cause. Some people have goiter, some people have cancers, and all these things, even stroke, they all lead to depression. There is virtually no chronic illness that doesn't have depression attached. So you have to also manage all these co-occurring disorders. So you can do laboratory investigations to check some of these things. Psychological investigations. Madam Vera has touched on that, and I believe that if given more time, she'll be able to tell us more about the psychological investigations. For the child that is struggling, even simple things like IQ testing, we realize that the brain is not that sound as you will expect. So expectation, see all your mates, they have left, you are still here, so that we'll know how to talk to these children. Please, the slide. And you have to importantly explore their life and social issues. Now, when you are talking to people, even in the church, some people have the gift of amebo and they can make your matter worse. So please choose wisely who you open up to. Because by the time you are now hearing your matter everywhere, and your story, the two stories that's touched on social media, I know somebody, and you happen to be upon it, the depression becomes what? Magnified. So let's look at how. Let's look at what treatment modalities we have. Next slide, please. So what are the treatment options? The most important is always psychological. Because it can be mild, it can be moderate, it can be severe. Do you know why we don't get to treat a lot of depression in the hospital? It's because the social factors are taking care of it. I'm sorry because I just stuck to the questions, the areas I'm supposed to look at. But depression is commoner in women, and especially in the childbearing age. And you can understand from what I've said. And so, you see, for men, it's a different thing. If a woman is crying next to you at work, whether women, whether children, everybody will ask, what's wrong? But if you see a man crying, what do you do? Even if I see a man crying as a psychiatrist, I will still find a way to look for other people that will go and talk, because we men don't find it comfortable to express our emotion. So this same man that you are finding it difficult to express emotion will now express it one way by just looking at the ceiling, looking at one tile in the house, and then climbing a chair. Or the ones that you will hear, that you will read in Punch, that the man was driving. They will say it's from the village. It's not remote control. It's depression. The man will just drive by the Lekki Bridge or the third mainland bridge and then park the car. I say, if not, somebody that is rich to buy that 160 million naira SUV is now parking it and jumping into what? The lagoon. That is depression. That is how men will manifest it. A man will either be angry or take his life rather than be head down and then be crying. So please, when you find your husband always getting angry all the time, say, honey, it may be depression, or should we talk to someone? But know how you say it. I don't say it as I said it. Because I will not be responsible for any bass that can come from that. So you need to explore that. Please, this slide, please. I'm almost done. In the next 1 minute, I'm done. So you can also help, because no matter whatever you do, and you don't look at the person's social problems and help to provide solution. And so the church can do a lot, and I'm happy that you have a department that takes care of that. There are physical treatments. I'm not going to bore you. Because a lot of these treatments are not here, even down to surgery. Because there are some, after you have done everything, they still don't respond. And those are the ones we call intractable, and one has to give surgery. I hope that with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you that a lot of the things that we are seeing on the streets and a lot of the things that we may be going through personally are due to depression. Thank you.
I like the energy. Can we give him another round of applause? Thank you. If there was anybody who was depressed today, I think the depression is gone, right? Thank you, Dr. Ayilara, for that wonderful presentation. We are gradually winding down. At this point, we have one more presenter, and then we'll take care of a few things, and we can go and have a good afternoon. Let me introduce the next speaker. Her name is Mrs. Martha Mensah. Of course, from the name, you know she's a Ghanaian. She's my in-law. Oh yeah, my wife is Ghanaian. She is a mother of two, an erudite mental health professional, and an advocate, a member of the Ghana Psychology Council, and an educator by profession. She's working with the Ghana Education Service as the Municipal Guidance and Counseling Coordinator. She holds several degrees in the field of psychology, of which is a degree in medical guidance and counseling and Master of Philosophy, MPhil, in counseling psychology. As a counseling psychologist, she has specialized in providing therapy, guidance, and support to individuals, couples, families, and groups. She is focused on helping individuals cope with emotional, social, vocational, and educational challenges, especially as an educator, aiming at enhancing their overall well-being and quality of life for the betterment of society and the individuals involved. She has vast experience working in diverse settings, such as community organizations, primary and tertiary institutions, and private organizations. She employs a range of therapeutic skills and approaches to address emotional or psychological issues experienced by individuals under her care, creating a safe and supportive environment for clients to explore their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. As a counseling psychologist, she helps individuals develop insights or understandings about the nature of their problems, build coping strategies and problem-solving skills to navigate through their life's challenges, equip the client with stress management skills, and improve their overall mental well-being. These are amongst so many things that she does that we cannot begin to say all of them today. Please join me in welcoming Mrs. Martha Mensah.
Good afternoon to you all, and greetings from Ghana. I'm very happy to be here and to be part of this great conference. When it's October, all professionals seem to be happy and sad at the same time. Why? Because it's a month that the world creates awareness on mental health. I would like all of us at this moment to keep quiet and take a reflection into our lives. From the speakers, who is going through mental health illness? Ask yourself these questions. Am I one? Is one in my home? Is one in my neighborhood? How am I treating them? How am I supporting them? Can I even recognize one? The one you sleep with on the same bed. From the drama, we realized that the man was naive, that the wife was going through so much. Who creates all this in the home, at workplace, in the market, everywhere you find yourself, in the church? Ladies and gentlemen, loved ones gathered here, I would like to speak to all of us on the impact of depression on families. And I would like to draw a circle on the families that I'm talking about. When you hear me mention families, these are those in that set. Your loved ones, those in your neighborhood, your children, sisters, brothers, wives, cousins, aunties, uncles, everyone you meet. So immediately you hear the family, don't just go back to your only home that you find yourself. Just make the circle look as I've described. Good. So, depression is not just a personal struggle. It also affects the people we love and care for us. Most of the time, when we meet people who are depressed, it happens that a lot goes on in their families. Those who take care of them, those who meet them, even when you come to workplaces, They are there with us. So when we say mental illness, it doesn't only affect those suffering from it, but those of us that cares for them, we also play a major role in there. Slide 1. So we are going to look at the impact of depression socially, emotionally, financially, and like I was introduced, my lowest, when I'm happy. When I hear children, I'm happy because they are those I handle most of the time as a professional teacher. So we look at the behavioral changes in children. Yes. Next, please. Yeah. So let's look at the social impact of depression on family members. The first one is it can cause strain on family relationships, affecting communication, daily routines, and social activities. When someone is depressed and you are around that person, it causes strain on the family. How do I handle him or her? How do I handle this boy? How do I handle this girl? How do I handle my mother? How do I handle my father? He's depressed. How do I do it? So, because you don't know much about it, it happens that socially, there is always tension in the home, and you don't get along well with it. Then we talk about the stigma surrounding mental health can make it difficult for family members to seek support. Yes, the impact is that when a family member is going through depression, the stigma, you see, even just look around us. Most of the time, when we meet people talking on their lips in town, we conclude that they are mad, isn't it? So if somebody owns up that this is my family member, what do you think other people will see him or her to be? Madness, home of madness, isn't it? Yes. So most of the time, the stigma makes it difficult for them. It makes it difficult for them to even seek for support. Because James will say, hey, is that the family this person is coming from? Then we can't marry from here. That stigma, then you can't marry from here. Don't go to that house, they are full of mad people. You see, that is what happens. So that is what the family experiences. So that is why in the beginning I said, put yourself in that family. If anybody in your family is going through depression, as they have explained, let's look at the impact so that even if you have not seen anyone, when you see one from today, you know how to handle these people. Then depression can create a negative atmosphere at home. When somebody is depressed, everyone has their own exhibits, the way they act. So most of the time you realize that, oh, this is not going down well with me at all. Then fights start coming in. They don't get to understand. Even if you look at those who are mentally ill, who are depressed, they are very intelligent. When they put down a statement, you can think about it for 3 days, you will understand. So intelligent. So when they speak, you realize that you said you are not all right in the mind, and you can speak to me like that. So these are some of the negative atmosphere that we create in the home. Then we come to the emotional impacts. Anxiety, over worry. Why should I go through this? Who placed this on my family? Where did we go wrong? You start thinking about it. Look, she happens to be a very young girl, very intelligent. She married to a very rich man. And now look at what is happening. Then our doctor will say, it's from the village. They have cursed him, they have cursed her. It's not true. It's never true. It's never true at all. When people go through depression, and they are not even those experiencing it, they go through anxiety. That's the impact on them. Because they don't even understand why we are from a very rich home, we are religious, we go to church, we pray, we fast, and we should still experience depression in our families. Then they may struggle with parenting tasks leading to negative outcome. Yes, this goes to those who are a bit younger. When people who are depressed happens to be around them, they have to be challenged. We have a lot of children that take up parental roles, and you realize that the outcome is so negative, so demeaning. and you realize that the whole home is clamping down. So anytime there is a depressed person in the home, these are the impacts that comes on the family. Family members may feel helpless and overwhelmed. Yes. The youth will say it will over you. You see, every small challenge, every small difficulty, every small struggle have its own impacts. But when there is depression, you feel helpless. You feel so helpless because where do I go from here? Whom do I talk to? And remember, because of the stigma, it's difficult for you to share with someone that, oh, this is what a family member is going through. She doesn't eat, she doesn't think, so you yourself, you become helpless. You become very, very helpless. And you become overwhelmed with the whole situation. You don't know whether to go right, to go left, sit, wait, go to church to pray, go somewhere to talk to. It just gets overwhelming. Then also, some people are unable to manage what they go through when a family member is going through depression, and they resort to substance use. When we were sitting down, Auntie Vera was just talking about a client experiencing 21 drugs. I was just counting the ones I know, and I asked myself, so how come the 21? How come she can count 21? Because when I counted the drugs, I didn't get up to 15. And one person had gone through 21 drugs and is addicted to it. So these are some of the things and the conditions that we find ourselves. When there's a depressed person in our family and we are not careful, we don't learn, we don't try to find out, the impact is that we resort to substance use and self-harm. At times you feel, oh, look at a beautiful family, everybody is talking about me, so you try to even end your life or do something that you feel good about yourself. That in the long run brings you down. Then we come to the financial impacts. Most of us, we know now nothing is free. When you go to the hospital, you need to pay. So payment of medical bills becomes a challenge on the family, and it keeps them so hard. It pushes them so much that at times they can't even know what to do. Because if you have to buy medicine at every time, like doctor mentioned, there are a lot of them. When we come and you talk about one at a time, we add on, and it all goes for a cost. So payment of medical bills brings so much impact on the family. Then lost income. Lost income. Most of the time, you realize that you need to take time out of your busy schedule to take care of the depressed person in your home. So what happens is that when you are working for 15 hours or 10 hours, you have to reduce it because you have someone to take care of. And that alone reduces your income. So that is some of the impacts financially that can come to you. Then reduced productivity can lead to financial strain and debt. You can't produce more. When you go for 8 hours, you can sell about 5 buckets of whatever you have, 5 bowls of what you have, because you have someone you have to take care of, pay the bills, and also manage at home. You have to spend 2 hours. Then productivity goes down. Then you have to resort to other means to raise funds, and you put yourself in debt. So these are some of the financial impacts that goes on with people experiencing depression. Then we go to behavioral changes in children. Dear families gathered here today, most of the time when children are home and people are depressed, they are so vulnerable to this illness of depression. They are those the most vulnerable because they cannot even explain what they are going through. They don't. They cannot talk so much about it. What is happening to mommy? What is happening to my teacher? What is happening to daddy? I went to church. What is happening around? They don't have words to describe them. But when they come back to the classroom, that is where most of these behavioral changes are seen. But then, I would like to draw all of your attention to the fact that you have seen them, but maybe you think that is normal. So let's go through them and recognize some of the things or the impacts of depression that people are experiencing on the children. The first one is that they may experience changes in appetites. Yes, just like somebody who is depressed. At times, you give them what they love, they said, I'm okay. No, I'm not interested again. I can't eat. I will take water. Oh, you can't sleep, so I will sleep. So watch. Are your children going through these changes? Then, difficulty with sleep or changes in sleep patterns. Children can sleep very well. You realize that for some time, they're not sleeping. They sleep, get up intermittently, will be on their bed, eyes open, and so on. Then children of depressed parents may be at risk of developing depression themselves. Yes. So when you realize that, we say when the problem has been persistent for 2 weeks and more, you have to seek professional help because it is worrying. If a child is not eating continuously for 2 weeks, she's not sleeping, it is worrying because it is not as a normal practice. It is getting serious with the health. So find out. Look out for, and you see, most of the time, when we see these changes in children, we have, when they come to our facilities, we realize that most of them take them to their GPs. When they go, they don't tell them much about what the children are going through. And at the end of the day, they prescribe other drugs for them. You go to a GP and they prescribe psychiatric medications for them, whilst there has not been any assessment on the child. So please, before any child, and even you the adults, you have to go through psychiatric treatment. You have to make sure that you go through assessment and take your child through that assessment. Make sure you get to the center, they can assess the child to tell you that this is what the child is going through. When you go and you talk about what is happening, then they prescribe the medication. We don't do it like that. Then we go to say, may experience low self-esteem and have difficulty forming healthy relationships. Yes, you realize your children are very social, outgoing, they have friends. All of a sudden, they are not making those friends again. They are always in their corner, thinking about themselves, isolating themselves, no social connection. These are some of the impacts on them. And also, they don't even feel valued. Self-esteem, they feel they are nobody. Self-confidence is lost. You know, children at some ages, they feel so good with their abilities. It comes to a time, even what they know to be doing best, they say, no, I can't do them anymore. When you hear music, we know they can dance. Now tell them, oh, music is playing. Oh, I've stopped playing. No, nowadays I don't dance. Since when? Oh, long ago. Meanwhile, it's been not long ago. You realize they are happy, clapping, enjoying everything. All of a sudden, it all changes. That is what they don't even believe in themselves again. What they can do, they don't even believe in it. They don't even know. They can't even recognize it anymore. Then we talk about difficulty concentrating or performing in school. Drastic decrease in academic performance. Nowadays, I don't know. Then every action, every word spoken is on the teachers. That is why today we have brought all of us here and those watching us from everywhere, that when you see reduction or decrease in academic performance, don't sit home and talk about the teachers. They are not performing. They are not performing. Go closer. Find out about how your child is relating in school, how he's responding to lessons, and you can be well informed that, oh, so it's not all about the teacher. It has got to do with behavioral changes. Then social withdrawal. Yes. As I said, you all meet at the parlor, having discussion, playing game. You realize that this child doesn't come out anymore to deal with you. Oh, let's play the Ludo. No, I'm not interested. You see, he doesn't want to get closer to the whole family again. Just take your mind home and find out. Is something like that going on in my home, in my primary class, in the where I buy? Just look around. We don't just want you to relate only to your home. Just look around. Look at the children that you meet every time, and you can best know what they are going through. Then loss of interest or pleasure in hobbies. Yes, like I've said already, things that they love doing, now they have withdrawn from those activities. Then mood changes. All of a sudden, they are moody. They don't want to smile. Then something happened and they are laughing. Then you ask, so now you have come back to yourself, eh? That is what we normally say. You have come back to yourself. But short time ago, you are not minding us. Why now? That should tell us that these children are going through some mood changes. And when it happens, there is a call for warring. Then, abandonment, yes. That's the impact. They feel they can work so much on that, but let me tell you, when a child feels like that, it's difficult for the child to go through normal activities. Now, as a family, when we have someone who is depressed, how do we cope? Are there some skills we can take home today and share with everyone we meet? On the streets, at the markets, in our workplaces, at church. Just tell someone that, no, if you have a depressed person in your home, these are some of the things that you can use to cope with. And the first one is that educate yourself and understand that depression is an illness. And today, we have failed from the talks that we've had already about depression. What is depression? What are the signs of depression? Now you know. So today, all of us in this room, we are ambassadors for mental health and depression. I hope you all agree with me. So if you are here and you are going to be an ambassador, please raise your hand. Good, I have all of them, yes. So from today, you have to be well educated, okay, and understand that depression is what? It's an illness, and that we can treat, we can manage. So if you are here, don't talk about any other thing till the end of October and beyond on depression. You are an ambassador. The second one is that it said, encourage honest and open communication and active listening within the family. Yes, there is depression. Somebody has been diagnosed of depression. Why are you in denial? Why is it that you don't want to accept? Where else do you want to go and believe it? It is real. It is an illness. So as a family, sit together and make an open and honest conversation on it. Because it happens that you can experience it today, another family member will experience it. So now that you have been educated, you understand the illness. When you are having that conversation, that communication, everyone will be honest with it. And that is what this conference is all about. Then you do active listening within the family. At times somebody will say, who told you? How did you know? We don't have this in our family history, but it has come. So anytime you are not open to conversation and you are in denial, it's difficult for treatment to be made. Then the next one is set realistic expectations and avoid blame or criticisms. As a family, as a friend, as a colleague, make sure that when someone is depressed in your home, you set realistic expectations. Oh, I know where this depression has gotten to. I can be of help in this way. I know maybe this person cannot go through all 100%, but I know when I give the support, the depressed person maybe can be able to control himself or herself around these activities. And with this, I can also support. Please, do not criticize. Do not be quick to judge the person. Rub the person out, he's no more a human, he doesn't think rational. Always blame games. Oh, he's supposed to take care of him. Why didn't you do that? That's your mother, that's your sister, you are responsible. No, you have to make sure that there's no blame game, because from our second point, we have learned that you have to come together to have a conversation and a good communication around it. Then our next one is take care of yourself by setting boundaries, seeking support, and practicing self-care. When we refer to the drama that we had, we realized that the mother was so stressed out that all the family challenges comes back to her. All the family, but he was just there, and the thing was just coming to her. There was no way she's able to manage herself. Even look at it, even at the workplace, she couldn't bath to go. And it is real. We were just discussing, whatever you saw, it's not just a drama. It's real. Everything you saw here, I'm telling you, it is real. It happens each and every day. People come to the workplace without bathing, with their hair anyhow done. I remember a man came to the office with different footwear. One, different color. He didn't even realize that. Not the same. And even one was a slippers, one was a full shoe. And I don't know how, that's what you would think. Oh, so how did he manage? He didn't feel anything that there's a shoe and a slippers. Yes, it was brought to the workplace. So these are the things that we are talking about. If you are taking care of someone who is depressed, take good care of yourself first. Make sure you get time to exercise, walk around. Don't go to the gym, no, it will be stressful. Just take some steps a day to see how you are feeling. You realize that you're okay. Eat very healthy. Eat healthy. Drink a lot of water and reduce your sugar intake. Reduce your oil intake. Make sure you go with more fruits and vegetables, and you realize that you are good to go. And when it's time for social programs, make sure you enjoy yourself, because the problem is there. And you yourself, you need to put yourself in a situation, you can control that situation in your home. So why do you just live any other life? Make sure self-care is very important to you. Now, we move to now, how do I support those experiencing depression? And as ambassadors in this room, and all those watching us from everywhere you find yourself, how can you support? Now I'm coming to help you on how you can support people experiencing depression. The first one is, the greatest healing therapy is friendship and love. Just get closer to them. Get closer to them. They are human beings. The situation that brought depression on them, you are not far from it. It is not about the big work you have. It's not about the big money, huge money, salaries you are receiving. You are not experiencing that. No. I don't think those going through depression don't know God. I don't think they don't pray. I don't think they don't fast. They do all this, but they are going through it. So you can be like that. So when you see them, make sure you extend love and friendship. Get closer to them. Talk to them. Find out about their day. They will tell you. When you come openly, they will openly be active and talk to you. Then the next one is seek professional help and support from mental health experts. Now that you know how to support them, from here, anyone who is experiencing that in the home, at workplace, extend love by inviting them to seek professional help. There are a lot in our hospitals. Mental health clinics are all over. They will go and assess the person before they can be able to know whether truly he or she is depressed. So anytime the signs that was discussed, you realize that everyone and the way he thinks, feels, and behaves. So any moment you see someone isolating themselves, once you know the person to be that outgoing, all of a sudden, everything has gone low on that person. Don't just go telling everybody around. Have you seen a change in this one? Have you seen a change in this person? I learned from a conference that when they are behaving like that, they are mad. It's not true. All that we are saying is that they are the symptoms that characterizes what? Mental health and, in a way, depression. So let the person seek professional help. When assessment is made, that is when you will know whether they are going through depression or not. Then you show kindness. And before you can show kindness, you have to be kind to yourself. That's the slogan. You can't give what you don't have. Always make sure you are kind to them. Offer support in financial if you have. In talk if you can. Then encourage them to express their feelings and validate their emotions. So you realize that at a time they will be acting differently from how you act. Allow them. Please allow them. That is them. That makes them that unique person you see now. So at times you realize that I'll be taking care of him and he's not appreciating. Look at the way he's talking to me. Allow them to validate their emotions. When you express your emotions, there is nothing wrong with it. So when they do, what makes it wrong? Just accept them and let them express how they feel at every time. And it helps them in their treatment and recovery. Then offer support in their treatment. Don't just tell them, oh, last week, you see the hospital we went today, you are going for review, go. Just talk to your bosses at home, your bosses at work, your bosses in the church, and tell them, I want to go to the hospital or the clinic with a friend, with a family member, with a colleague. Support them when they are going to the hospital. for the clinic. Just support them in their treatment. Don't just leave them to go, because people will see and he's going to a mental health facility, so you feel shy. No. Now, with the words that have come to us today, it's more than a sermon. And all of us, I think, somebody will say, we are going to factory reset our minds to come back to when we were born, that we all need to come together and help. Then speak. He said, speak to your priesthood leaders. Yes, as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, there is an opportunity for everyone to speak to the priesthood leader about what you are going through, and they will make the necessary referrals for you. Then the last one is, don't ignore or dismiss their feelings. When they are talking, listen to them. Try and help them out. Try and help them. Don't ignore. Oh, because you know they have issue with their mind. They can't think as you are doing. So when they talk, you ignore, you rubbish it. Not at all. Find out more about what they are talking about, and I know you will understand them better. Now, don't try to solve their problems. You know, counselors, when you come to the counseling centers, we don't solve people's problems. When you come and tell us your problem, then, hey, don't worry. You are here today, everything will be all right. I'm going to solve all your problems for you. We don't do that. We meet them halfway. We let them know what they are going through. Why they are even at the treatment center. Why they are at the counseling center. Oh, this is the reason why I came. I was referred. Oh, is that so? That's good. So what is going on? So why did you come? Then he'll tell you, I came because I was going through these situations and I was referred to you. So what is your goal? To get through, to be able to navigate all these I'm going through. Oh, that's so then I'll help you. Doesn't come in. We will work together. No counselor or no psychiatrist will say, I'll do everything with you, because there's a percentage you have to bring and I add on. If not, it can't be done. So all that we are saying is that make sure you help solve their problems. You don't solve their problems, help solve their problems. So there's a part, they have to make themselves available. You have to go with them. When they talk about their feelings, that is a part they are bringing to the table. Then don't judge or criticize them. Dear brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, everyone here today, you are part of a conference that is creating awareness on mental health. A conference that may be an eye-opener to you and I, that when we see people acting in a different way, we are not, the way they feel and they express them, it's awkward. And the way they are acting is different from how you see a lot of people. Today we have learned here today that we don't need to criticize them. Avoid criticizing them. Don't judge them. Don't judge. Nobody knows tomorrow. Yes. Nobody knows tomorrow, because when we look at the symptoms and the causes, we realize that everyone can have mental illness. And in a matter, you can be depressed at a time. Even when you have a lot of work on your table to clear, that you're unable, it even takes you into depression. Yes, it does. When you want to achieve a certain height and you are not getting there, you get worried every day. It can lead you into depression. When your parents are not well and money to handle them is not coming, you can get into depression. When your children are not getting jobs to do, you think every day you get into yourself anxiety disorder, it gets into depression. So today, I'm an ambassador, and like you have all pledged that you're all going to ambassadors for mental health. It is important that the world is celebrating the day, so that everyone, everywhere, in every corner, will agree that we all need to bring what we have on the table to help solve mental health issues. To end my presentation, I want to say that depression is a battle that can be won with the right support, resources, and mindset. Thank you all for listening to me.
Beloved brothers and sisters, invited guests, our speakers that have done wonderfully well. For those that have Android phones or mobile phones, These resources are there and they've been provided by the church. All we need to do is know where to search. So when we go to our gospel library, I'm sure most of us are familiar with it. When we go to gospel library, we go to life help. Can we just follow along as I'm explaining it? So we can open our phones and go to gospel library. So when we get to gospel library, we look at life help. And when you click on life help, it opens up a barrage of topics such as abuse. It talks about addiction, talks about pornography, dealing with pornography, talks about same-sex attraction, dealing with it. It talks about depression and mental health itself. And when let's look at mental health, for example, you can click on mental health. And when you open up mental health, it talks about the general principles of managing mental health as a leader. So if a member comes to you with an emotional issue, it guides you as a leader to be able to assist that member. So you don't need to be a professional, but it guides you on the basics of what to do with that member, so the member accesses help. So it gives you the general principle of how you need to, first of all, seek to understand the nature of the problem the individual is going through. So before you are able to help that person, you need to understand what the person is going through. So there are certain questions it will guide you to ask, such as when the illness started, if there are history before, if the person has had a previous breakdown before, if there's a family history and things like that. And then it leads you to understand that the next step is to help the individual. So it guides you with the resources and things, step-by-step guide as to how you can help that individual experiencing the emotional issue. Now it doesn't end there. Then it talks about support for the family. Just as our speakers have said, once an individual has depression or any form of mental health issue, it impacts the family. So leaders are trained and they are equipped to know how to go about supporting the family as a whole. And then it gives you resources, take and word resources to be able to assist that person as a leader. So in the church we have ministry brothers and sisters, we have leaders, Relief Society leaders, our forum president and all that. These are all stake and word resources that our leaders can assist to provide support for that member. So that's one way of accessing the resource in the gospel library. Another way would be to go through the same gospel library, and then through the gospel library you can see, sorry, let me open mine so we follow along. You can see callings and word and stake callings. So when you go to your handbooks and callings, you go to word or branch callings. And from word or branch callings, you go to bishopric. And when you get to bishopric, you will see counseling resources. Again, you open it and there's a huge volume of resources to tap into as leaders and as members of the church. So you have help for the victims, maybe those that have gone through abuse, and also help for the abuser, the person that has perpetrated the offense. So that person is also guided so that that abuse will not continue again. So we have a whole lot for members and for the leaders. And there are some times that the issue with the member is beyond the expertise of the bishop or the leader that is assisting that member. So we, as family services, they come to us as family services, and in this case, they come to the family services of that country, which would be myself. And so we provide counseling services, and we provide community resources for the leader. We are blessed with rich resources here in Edo State. We've already invited the speakers, so we help them link with these resources and they provide assistance for the members. So, dear brothers and sisters, I cannot overemphasize how blessed we are as members of the church I am proud to say that I know there's no other church that has these resources that we have for its members. And I know this is to enrich us and to make us emotionally resilient, emotionally stable, so we are able and better able to serve our Heavenly Father in His kingdom. I know this to be true with all my heart, and I say and leave this with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. A couple of questions that have come online. So what we are going to do is that if you ask a question and you remember from whose presentation, you want to ask that question, then you can ask, you can tell us the person, and then we'll address that particular presenter will answer your question.
But if it's a general question, then we'll throw it to the presenters and then have them answer, anyone who is ready to answer for us. We'll start with one from our online, people that joined online, and then after that we'll have, we have some microphones. Please, where are the microphones? We have some microphones going round, and then you can raise up your hand and they'll bring you the microphone, and then you would ask your question. So from Brother Stephen Andrews, we have, what is the remedy to the symptoms of constant nausea like dizziness, fatigue? Is that stress, or what is it? If you have constant nausea, dizziness, fatigue, what is that? And that came after Madame Veronica did her presentation. So we would like to invite her to come and give us an answer. Do we have the microphones, please? Yes, please, you can give it to her.
Okay. I think the question is about nausea and what else, please?
Dizziness and fatigue.
And fatigue. Okay. These symptoms actually might not just be that of mental illness. People that are pregnant can also experience these symptoms. So, first of all, before we can now go down to mental health, we have to rule out physical problems first, before we can now say, okay, if all the physical problems, pregnancy, medical conditions are all ruled out, before we can now say, okay, this might be symptoms of, like, say, anxiety or that of depression. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you. So we'll take one question from the audience. Kindly raise your hand. Okay, there's one right behind you.
Yes, thank you. I want to thank you for this conference. I am Bishop Omorugbe Anthony from Uzebu State, Kogbe Ward, to be precise.
Thank you, Bishop.
From where I'm coming from, I'm a teacher by profession. And the three speakers talked about depression in students. And they all say that when the student is performing poorly, that is depression can, that is the student is faced with depression. But to we in the academic, in the other side, I don't have this full knowledge. Sometimes these students are punished by we teachers, or sometimes we invite their parents. So I want to get it clear, so because I'm somehow confused, if performing poorly in academic work can be referred as depression. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Mensah, you are an educationist, so as well as a counselor, let's hear from you.
Okay, thank you very much. In fact, I was expecting that question. Yes, so thank you very much for the question. You know, I don't know, but when you come to our schools, we don't punish. The punishment that goes on are unauthorized. There is zero tolerance for violence in our schools. Why? Because we believe that every behavior a child exhibits is as a result of a condition he or she is going through. So we have this we call the positive discipline toolkit that we take children through when they are behaving a way we don't like. Now, when you are taking them through and you still experience the same actions or behavior from the children, what we do is that we refer them. We refer them to a school counselor or the municipal or district counselor or the state counselor in Nigeria. That is what we do. Because till you have assessed the child, you might think he's disrespectful. He's always not obeying rules. But there might be a reason for that behavior. That is why we always say that make sure you know the cause of a child's behavior before he or she is punished. So now that you know, you have been educated, and now you know, I believe that the ambassadorial mandates I've given everyone. You go and educate your teachers as well. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much. Dr. Ilara, this is from someone from Beposo branch in Pinton State in Ghana. He says, is it okay for a parent to show extreme emotions like being angry or sad in front of their children, and does it affect them in any way?
Thank you very much. It seems like an exam question for me. And because you have to weigh what is proper with what is expected. Sometimes you cannot control your own emotion as a parent. So it's going to be difficult. Do you know that probably you've lost someone close to you and you don't want to grieve because of your children? You still have to take care of the children. So the Lord will help us as we balance this. Yeah, but you know, when you begin to tear down, like you lost, if you've lost your own parents, it may not be bad to actually have a throwdown in front of your kids, showing how much you've lost your parents, and they will know how much value they can attach to you too. So it's neither here nor there if I will answer it. But the one, grief is one, but anger is one of the things that you should not so much express. Because for me, when I'm very angry, I always will just try to walk away, even though the other person may continue to talk. But I've learned that from my father, and it works for me. And I know that this won't get to my heart.
Yes, thank you.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. Please, we have one hand up here. Then we have a sister at the back, and then there's another gentleman in front of him. Then we'll come to you. Oh, I think maybe his question has been answered. So let's go to the sister.
Good afternoon, everyone. Please, in a situation whereby you have somebody that has so many of these symptoms that have been mentioned, and before now you have encouraged the person to go for therapy, and he refused, what do you want to do in such a situation?
Okay. Do you have a preference? Do you want anyone to answer your question? Anyone? Okay. So please, we'll throw it to you. Our sister is saying she can identify these symptoms, many of them, and then she's been advising that person to reach out for help, and they are not ready to do that. What do you do? So this falls under US supporting.
Okay, thank you once again. In fact, most of the time, it is not easy for you or I to accept that we are exhibiting certain behaviors. Martha, I just realized that you have been thinking. When you are even walking, you'll be speaking on your lips. You'll be talking as you are going. Your eating habits have changed. Nowadays, you don't even come around. It will be difficult for me to accept it. It is normal with everyone. But you know, our approach to how we want to refer that person or seek the support for that person is a question. How do we do it? You nowadays, why? Is something wrong with you? Why is your husband troubling you? And every day you are talking, walking about, talking. When you ask me for support, I won't even mind you. But you see, Sister Mensa, Auntie Martha, nowadays I've seen some changes in you. You know, we listened to a talk, we went somewhere, and they educated us that when we see people going through these situations, we should draw them closer talk to them so that they can seek support. I know this place, I have been there myself. You can even use yourself to cite, oh, I've been even there myself, and now I feel I'm getting better. So can we take a stand or a step? And that with love, with friendship, like we said, healthy relationship, it's very important. That person can willingly come out. And those of us with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, speak to your priesthood leaders. Speak to them. They have been trained on how to make these referrals. And there is something that Auntie Tamara, we didn't mention. When you talk of support or treatment or help, it is 100% confidential. When you come to counseling, it is 100% confidential. When you have a problem and somebody help you out, whatever happened at the treatment room, it's not brought outside for discussion. Even when you go there, you sign a confidential note that you are not going to discuss with anybody, let alone the... So you use all these to educate the person. And trust me, he or she will take a step. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just quickly add that our Gospel Library Life Help resources are very, very helpful. When you read a portion that you think that person can learn from, there are some 3 dots there. You just touch it, it says share. It goes to WhatsApp, you send it to the person. One person did that, kept sending messages to one person that she thought needed help, but he said he didn't need the help. And as he kept reading it, he now came back and he said, I think this is talking about what I'm going through. So it's not because he went right in front of him and said, there's this wrong with you, I've learned about it. They say it means you are depressed. But as he was reading it, he could link the symptoms to what he was experiencing, and he accepted it. So let's try a lot of different ways. Okay, so there's a gentleman that is sitting by you. And then we have 2 people that had raised up their hands at the back. Yes.
It is normal that we cannot prevent the birds of depression from flying over our head. But we can prevent them from building nests in our head. The reason why I'm coming up with this is because someone had depression, and it could be in the form of mental issue. And they took the person to the hospital. He's now restored, so they said, into vibrant health. But now he's back home. When they asked him 1 or 2 questions, he now became bowed by flight of reasoning. I want a final full stop. I don't want this thing to continue. That is why I said we know it is a statement of fact that, this thing may fly over our head, called depression. It's like a bird that fly over our head. But we don't want a situation where we build nests in our head. We want a final, how can we go by that? How can we solve it totally so that it will not come back again?
Doctor, so could you help us with that?
Thank you for the question. It's one of the areas that I feel should have been addressed, or I should have addressed. Part of the problems that we have with a lot of disorders that we have as human beings, not just mental health challenges, but even physical illnesses, the one we call chronic illnesses. Nobody talks about cure. We talk about management. Part of it is hypertension, diabetes. I always say that. You will know, number one, even the causes. You will hear, oh, it's one thing. You will have inheritance, you will have lifestyle issues, you will have environmental issues. So all those things are together. But for one of these things, for all of these disorders, they are chronic relapsing disorders, which means that whatever you have done to secure your good health, you have to keep doing. And this is why it becomes very difficult for everyone, because you get tired of taking medications. You get sometimes tired of opening up to people, because anytime you open up to people, sometimes you feel as if you are not strong enough or you are not doing well enough. But to keep it away, one has to continue what you have done by counseling if it's the level. Because if it's a mild level, support, counseling can do it. You don't need medication. But from moderate to severe, and that's at the time that someone is thinking of taking their lives, they are not just functioning again. At that time, medications could be helpful. And sometimes when you are taking medications for a while and you are okay, we'll adjust the medication, but you may still need to continue. At times you have done so well, we may consider what we call a drug holiday, in which once you have been having interaction, we can say, okay, stay off medication, let's see how well you do. But you know at the back of your mind that more than 80% of cases will still have a relapse in the future.
Doctor, please, could you kindly keep standing? There's a question here that relates very well. So a gentleman is saying that he has been diagnosed of a mental health illness. Okay. He has been taking medication. The combination does not agree with him. And he has tried several combinations, and he's still getting so many symptoms, side effects that does not agree with him. And he's tired. He wants to give up. What is your advice?
Okay. For the person, you see, you have to know the disorder and the medication. And you have to look at why they are not working. Sometimes the doctors may get it wrong, or the people who are assessing may get it wrong. They may not get the diagnosis right, and they may be given medications that are not appropriate for the person. And sometimes some medications work against each other. You have to find a balance. There are some medications that you take and then they start dissolving all the other. That's as simple as I can make it. And so you have to have a balance of that. So if the person could also probably have a reassessment by another physician, or if you are maybe at the level of a medical officer, you can also get someone who is a specialist. Because yes, during the training at undergraduate level, everybody will have a level. But sometimes even if you are seeing a specialist or a trainee psychiatrist, you may ask for a consultant review. Many times you have a trainee psychiatrist coming with a case and then they discuss with us and we have to make that input. So it could be any of these, and then the person can just seek someone who they feel is much better at addressing the issue.
All right, thank you. Dad, we've had some hands at the back. We haven't been able to.
Yeah, I have a question. Can somebody...
Just a moment, please. Just a moment, please.
Thank you very much. Well, I was very, very enthusiastic in coming here, and I'm very delighted to have met my colleagues, even our international guests from Ghana. The discussion tends to be going in the direction of what people have always said we are overemphasizing. That is the over-medicalization of depression. We seem to be sliding in that direction. The US Surgeon General currently is on a crusade. And the keystone of that crusade is the emphasis on what loneliness is contributing to depression and substance abuse. And he's trying to devise remedies, but definitely loneliness is situated in the very matrix of society. How society is organized, how we obtain our livelihood, and so on and so forth. So for me, I still greet this church for raising this issue. But the perspective should not over-focus on medicalization. How do we expand the web of solidarity within society? How do we create safety nets and so on? Of course, I do know depression can be caused by genetic problems, but it's a very, very tiny slice. Even the journey to suicide, when you listen to people. Our old professor, Ayo Benitie, he was a very influential psychiatrist in this part of the world. And he's also an in-law to the Ghanaian. His wife was a Ghanaian, an educationist as well. Susan always talked about the relationship between depression and the economic situation. In fact, economic depression, he used to miss them over. He always gave lectures. And then taking a strain from what I'm talking about, even big-time authors like Sullivan and so on, always felt even psychiatry was too embedded in medicine, that psychiatry had more to do with the social sciences. Because if we are looking for comprehensive solutions to a pressing problem that has been with us, we have to be very, very circumspect. There are conditions in Nigeria today, for instance. The withdrawal of subsidy, the deregulation, or the floating of the naira, and so on. Many people are actually sinking below the line. So there is no amount. I'm not about congratulating my colleagues. I also took my rotations between 2002 and 2005, right in your station there. There is no amount, for instance, of neuroleptic drugs that can help a person who is being thrown out of his job or whose take-home pay can no longer take home. So, I want to appeal to this church. I want to appeal to this church as a very good friend that what they have done today should actually be the mainstay of a solid advocacy, even to the policy makers, about how we should address depression and other social pathologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well noted, sir. Thank you so much. Please get back. So we have just a few minutes. We have just 2 questions. Please, those who raise their hands at the back, we haven't come to the back at all, so please.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, you were asking a question. Yeah.
Thank you very much, madam, for giving me this opportunity. I have listened to your discussion today, and they all are very helpful. But there's something I want to find out. Our environment, dirty environment, what can it lead us to in terms of depression? Does that have a relationship with somebody or affecting person to have a depression?
Mrs. Efio, please, our environment, our dirty environment, does it have a relationship with people experiencing depression?
Thank you for that beautiful question. Sometimes dirty environments are always associated with poverty. And we can say that when you live in squalor, you are actually described as having in a state of poverty. So definitely you find out that if you are living in poverty, poverty can also lead to mental illness. So that is what I can say. I don't know if I've answered your question. Okay. So what we should do from now on is, beginning from you and myself, to begin to look at our own immediate environments. Because if we come to think about it, I am also guilty, you are guilty. You are driving on the streets, you are throwing things out of your car. Anything you use, even within the church compound, even though there are a lot of trash cans around, you drop it. So from today, to stay healthy, let us learn to keep clean our environment. Thank you.
Thank you. Our last question.
Thank you very much. My question is on child abuse. For the first speaker, he talks about that. Eventually a victim, maybe probably circumstances, he was being raped by a criminal, or probably by innocent sexual harassment or sexual abuses. Probably like parents, I've come across this kind of situation in my area, my former area, whereby a whole father defied his daughter. Now, you know this kind of thing can result to what? Depression, social stigma, even sexual problems, suicide or loss of trust or physical trauma. And this kind of thing, this sexual exploitation by parents, like the piece of drama they displayed, whereby say, go and learn Yahoo. Some people can say, okay, go and what? Have your own boyfriend or girlfriend when it's not yet time. Is it compulsory after this whole thing has been resolved? Is it compulsory for the victim to start a new life elsewhere? How can this issue be resolved? You know, after everything like sexual harassment, probably through prostitution or human trafficking, or this rape of a teen by criminals, some people will just move to another location to what? To start a better life. How can this issue be resolved? And the last one is under what? Infringement of daughter sexual rights. Humans, adults, we have sexual rights. A situation whereby parents force their daughter in marriage, maybe probably denial of choice of marriage of partner, or by fugal expression or circumcision. All these are variation in age of consent for sexual abuses or criminal code. A little boy just get married, a little girl. Intimidation. Now, how can this issue be resolved? And lastly, dyslexia patients being discriminated. How can they cope with their study? All this result to depression. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful question. Dyslexia.
Thank you for your question. I will take the first one, but I think I will still seek clarification for the second question. The first one, you talk about an individual or a girl that have been abused by the father, so to say, or criminals, okay? So you're asking if this person, after treatment, should be taken away from that environment. Is that your question? Okay. Now, I was very happy when Linda talked about the services you have in the church, whereby you can also attend to the victim and the perpetrator. Because if you look at people that actually carry out abuse, some of them also have psychological problems. People with antisocial personality disorders are actually people that are implicated with abuse. So the first thing to do is to treat the victim. And if possible, you can also assess the father and find out if the father is also, had mental health problems, personality problems, and thereabouts. Of course, offer him treatment. If he accepts, fine. If he doesn't accept. But the law has it that that young person should be taken away from that environment so that he will not perpetuate that evil on the child any longer. I think the law takes care of that. But in Nigeria, sometimes when such abuse comes up, the family will want to cover it up. So how sometimes you don't even get to know about it. A child told me of how she was abused by the stepfather at the age of 8. So she talked to the mother about it. The mother said, please, keep it in the family. Keep it in the family. And she never got over it until when she was around 25. She now want to have a boyfriend. She now want to get married. But that experience was with her. That was how she broke down and she came for treatment. Of course, we were able to treat her. We cannot treat the perpetrator. We asked her, please, can you care for your own livelihood? She said, yes, okay. So she found a place to settle. But for the criminals that you do not know, it is very hard. For the criminals that you do not know, it is very hard for you to take care of the criminals because like armed robbers come to your house, they abuse your child, and of course, the best you can do is to take your child for treatment and make a police report. Sometimes in Nigeria, we find out that arrests are made. And before you can say Jack Robinson, that criminal is let off. So maybe we should come with better laws or better security or legal system that can link that person not only to be incarcerated, but to also receive a treatment. I think that will be better off. Please, your question, second question, I was not able to get it.
That is forced in marriage or denial of choice of partner, even vulgar experience or circumcision, especially in North. How can this issue be resolved?
Well, when it comes to issue of forced marriage, we know that most times it is here with us. Now, you and I are not always in that person's family. Sometimes the victim may not even speak out. He may keep quiet, get into the marriage. It is only when domestic violence begins to take place that you know that this was actually a forced marriage. So what I will actually advocate for is that even from the church, let us begin to kind of counsel parents not to force their daughters into marrying people that they do not want to marry. You can give your counsel as a parent. You can guide as a parent, but you are not supposed to force. So that if anything happens tomorrow, it will not be that you were the one that forced this child into this marriage. Actually, it's never even a good thing for you to force anybody into a relationship with somebody I don't have a bond with. I don't connect with. Okay? So, for the issue of circumcision, I think there is a law against that right now in Nigeria. There's a law against that. That's why you find out that most times people don't do it openly any longer. They do it in a very secretive way. But as people that are enlightened, and I've also attended this conference, I think it is also a time for us to advocate for such at all times. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Unfortunately, it's way past our time. And so it's way past our time. So please, we would encourage the leaders, please collate some of the questions that are coming from your stakes and your wards, and please send them to Family Services. We'll find a way of answering these questions and sending them to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our special guests, brothers and sisters who are here. We will now be having the closing formalities. We'll have the choir give us just one song, a short one, okay? And then after that, we'll have Sister Rachel Imade give us the closing prayer. Okay. Thank you all once again for coming. So please, at the conclusion of this, we would like to go out to where we set up the red carpet and have some pictures with our special guests. Then after that, would have just a short meeting with you, our guests, in the room behind there. So we'll let you know. And then after the choir, the host stake president will give a short closing remarks before the closing prayer. Thank you.
On behalf of the Benin City Nigeria Ipopan State Presidency, I want to thank the choir for the beautiful rendition of the hymns that have been sung today. And for our special guests, we appreciate your coming and for the enlightenment we have gotten from you today. The representative of the Commissioner of Police, thank you for coming. And then the representative of the Commissioner for Health at those states, thank you also. My dear brothers and sisters, it has been nice being here today and for all the information we've gotten in relation to mental health and for us to be able to help others who might be passing through one form of ill health condition or the other and to help them to become better citizens of this kingdom, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and perhaps being useful to their families. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is indeed the kingdom of God here on the surface of the earth. It is here to prepare people for the second coming of the Savior. I want to bear you my testimony that I know that God lives and that Jesus is the Christ. And I will have a living prophet on the surface of the earth today. His name is Mr. Marion Nelson. He just celebrated his 99th birthday this year. And we wish him more fruitful years to guide us on the path of covenant which burden the Lord has placed on his shoulders. My dear brothers and sisters, for those who have traveled from other parts of Africa to this conference, we wish you safe journey back home. And for those of us who may have traveled from other parts of Nigeria, it is the desire of our heart that you arrive home safely and meet your family in good health. My dear brothers and sisters, this conference is an annual one. I was just talking with the organizers if we can repeat it here next year, but they have just told me that that can be. And that is always from one country to another. So Nigeria may not be hosting it next year, but I look forward to its coming back to Nigeria once again. Thank you very much, and safe journey back to your respective home. I say all this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
Our dearest Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. We are grateful for the success of today's conference. We're grateful for the speakers and the inspiring message passed. We beg thee to grant us the enablement to put these words into practice, and that we'll be able to do that is expected of us, even to be good people in the society. We beg thee, even as we go to our respective destinations, that thou should send the angels to be our guide, that would arrive home safe and sound. We beg thee to let thy will be done in our lives, even as it is in heaven. Above all, that thou should forgive us our sins and our imperfect acts. We humbly ask of these blessings, humbly in the name of the only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Amen.
May we please have an usher lead our special guest to the room where we'll have the very short break meeting with you. We'll take pictures thereafter, okay? And then, please, for those who are sitting in the chapel area, could you please just sit for a few minutes?